Chapter 31. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. The rich second wife of the rich old man 31. On the second day after returning from Ungshi to Anluo, Meng Yang told Luo Xiu that he hoped Luo Xiu could send someone to help him take over his company. After careful consideration, Luo Xiu told him several plans to let him. He chose it himself, and Meng Yang didn't know much about it, so he asked Luo Xiu to help him decide. Half a month later, Sun Fengfei, the president of Xiangmen, came to Meng Yang with many documents. "Aunt Sun, it's been a long time." Meng Yang walked into the small living room and looked at Sun Fengfei. "Meng Yang, I haven't seen you for a while. I heard that your college is notoriously strict. Are you busy studying?" Sun Fengfei said with a smile. "It's okay to study, and I can cope with it. I just have to be busy preparing for the competition," Meng Yang said after sitting down. Sun Fengfei nodded and said, "To become a successful perfumer, it is necessary to participate in the competition. Aunt Sun, you have worked hard all these years." Meng Yang looked at Sun Fengfei and said sincerely and gratefully, I'm ashamed, I didn't make the company develop better, and the company is not as good as 1 year. My ability can't be compared with your mother. I want to make the company better and bigger. For me it's really difficult." Sun Fengfei recalled all these years and was very emotional. Meng Yang's mother and Sun Fengfei were close friends. When Meng Yang's mother learned that she was terminally ill, she handed over the company to Sun Fengfei, who was then vice president. Yang's heart is very grateful to her. Meng Yang is really not good at operation and management, and has no interest in this aspect. What he can do now is to rely on Luo Xiu, so that the company will not be eliminated by the times, and can also get a completely transformed freshman. The Mengjia company will be affiliated to the Luo group, and Luo Xiu will send someone to take over the company. From the brand name to the company's internal management system, everything will be subject to a major rectification. If you want to get a new life, you have to endure the pain and discard the old one. Although Sun Fengfei will no longer participate in the management of the company in the future, in order to thank him, Meng Yang will still give the president the annual salary that he deserves, which is to let her receive the pension in advance. After Meng Yang signed all the documents, he left Sun Fengfei to have lunch together. The two chatted about many past things and missed the time when Meng Yang's mother was still there. It wasn't until the afternoon that Meng Yang sent Sun Fengfei away. Not long after Sun Fengfei left, Luo Xiu returned. After returning from Yen City, Meng Yang began to help Luo Xiu treat headaches, so he asked Luo Xiu to return home on time. The way of aromatherapy, besides smelling incense, fumigation, soaking, massage points and meridians with blended essential oils, etc. Meng Yang asked the housekeeper to create an aromatherapy room next to the bedroom, that is, the scenery is comfortable. He also let people send hot spring water every day, enough to enhance the efficacy of medicine. Meng Yang poured the medicinal fragrance juice into the hot spring water, and then mixed it with one hand, and the other opened the wooden board cover on the wall to set the temperature of the water. Luo Xiu finished washing his body and walked out of the washing room around the bath towel. Meng Yang turned his head to look at his figure and couldn't help swallowing. Then he said, "The temperature of the water has been adjusted. Ours will do." Luo Xiu entered the wooden bath tub around the towel and sat down in the water with his back to Meng Yang. Meng Yang wiped his back with a towel. The muscles on Luo Xiu's back are very strong, and his back gives him a solid and reliable feeling. This is the result of his constant fitness in the office gym even if he is busy. Meng Yang loosened the towel, rubbed his hands on his shoulders and back, and then slowly hugged him from behind. "Uncle Luo." Luo Xiu closed his eyes and tried his best to restrain himself. Meng Yang put his face on Luo Xiu's back. Luo Xiu's breathing became heavier, and Meng Yang's breathing became more and more rapid. Luo Xiu suddenly turned around, hugged Meng Yang and kissed deeply. Meng Yang froze for a moment, then hugged him around his neck to respond to him. The hearts of the two are deeply affectionate. The more they kiss, the more emotional, and the more emotional, as if all the love in their hearts is in this kiss, expressing to each other. Luo Xiu loosened Meng Yang, holding his face, looking at his eyes and saying, I want to keep you by my side forever, no matter how many years later, I won't let you go, I will ask someone to cancel the prenuptial agreement tomorrow, do you agree? Meng Yang was confused by his kissed eyes. After he heard Luo Xiu's words clearly, he nodded and said, I will. Luo Xiu kissed Meng Yang's lips again, and then said. Recently you have to participate in important competitions, and you can't be distracted. After you have participated in all competitions, let's do a good job and talk more about the future. Okay. Okay. Meng Yang nodded again. The two kissed again. After Luo Xiu soaked for half an hour, Meng Yang let him lie on the aromatherapy bed again, covered with a cloth cover, and fumigated for half an hour. After the fumigation, Meng Yang asked him to turn over and lie down on the aromatherapy bed, and then sat on his back to help him massage the acupuncture points and meridians with essential oils. After giving Luo Xiu a massage, Meng Yang also sweated. When Luo Xiu entered the shower room, he also returned to the room and entered the bathroom to take a shower. Meng Yang and his brothers took part in the domestic youth competition. After 3 days, they conducted 3 rounds of competition. Meng Yang won the first place in the competition, and Yu Junchen took second place. Wu Feng played exceptionally and unexpectedly. Won the third place. The top 3 students can participate in the Western International Youth Competition. Although the School of Fragrance of Sunyi University is recognized as the country's first incense school, there are several other schools that are also very strong. It can be said that they are closely followed by the School of Fragrance of Sunyi University. Very powerful students, in order to reduce competition pressure, get more attention and resources, will specifically choose other schools. This time, all the places to participate in the Western International Competition were occupied by their colleges. It can be said that the school was quite upset. The school leaders were very happy, so they gave them public praise and rewards. After the recognition and awards conference, students should go to class, and those who don't have class will be ready to go home. After 2 days was a break, Meng Yang's brothers and sisters all said they would help him and Wu Feng celebrate. They walked outside the college to discuss how to celebrate. Luo Xing is standing outside the Hong Kong College waiting for Meng Yang. After Luo Xing left the inn last time, he rushed to the Qing family to discuss countermeasures with his grandfather. Under the guidance of his grandfather, he determined to return to the Luo family and then work in the Luo group as soon as possible. And strive to get Luo Xiu's approval. However, he wanted to return to the main house of Longling Mountain several times. The guards at the bottom of the mountain did not allow him to go up the mountain, let alone return to the main house. So he could only come outside the Hong Kong Academy and stop him from talking to him before Meng Yang got on the bodyguard's car. Meng Yang saw Luo Xing from a distance. He subconsciously thought that Luo Xing came to be equal to Jun Chen, but when he saw him keep looking at himself, he thought that he should have been unable to return to the main house of Luo family, so he wanted to find him. Breakthrough. Meng Yang. Luo Xing walked towards Meng Yang. What do you want to do again? Wu Feng blocked Meng Yang and looked at Luo Xing with fierce eyes. I want to talk to you. Luo Xing looked at Meng Yang and said that he was completely gone now. Before every time he saw Meng Yang, he looked disgusted and high-profile. He has nothing to talk to you, hurry up. Wu Feng said disgustedly. Brother. Meng Yang patted Wu Feng's shoulder and said, go back first, I want to hear what he wants to say. Wu Feng wanted to persuade Meng Yang to ignore such people as Luo Xing. Meng Yang glanced at the bodyguard who was not far away, indicating that he didn't have to worry. Wu Feng also told him to be careful not to trust this person easily before leaving with others. I don't want to stand here and listen to you. I go to the coffee shop outside the Luo group for a cup of coffee. If you want to say something, just come by yourself. I will only give you a cup of coffee. Then, go to the parking place in front of you, and after the bodyguard opens the door, get on the car and leave. Luo Xing drove up in his car and followed. Meng Yang entered the spacious and comfortable single room. After he ordered his coffee, Luo Xing had already entered. What do you want to talk to me about? Meng Yang asked, looking at him. I want to apologize to you before things. Luo Xing said with a sincere look. What kind of thing are you referring to? Meng Yang asked after a smile. All things. Luo Xing replied. I betrayed you, before breaking up with you, the thing I associate with Jun Chen. I take someone to humiliate you, want to drive you out of the Luo family, and I despise the things that insult you. I apologize to you for everything. I'm sorry, I was wrong before. So. I accept your apology, or do not accept your apology, what is the point for you? Meng Yang looked at Luo Xing, who looked sincere and thought, pretending to be really like that. Rather than fighting like this, it is better to get along peacefully. I am willing to accept the fact that you have married my father, and my father and I are, after all, father and son. But if I forgive you, what good is it for me? My grandmother is now unable to come back because of her love. Because of some things, but she comes back only sooner or later. If my father legally cuts off my father and son because of your relationship, then wait for my grandmother after returning, she will not easily spare you. My relationship with my father is not good, because I have not grown up with my father since I was a child, so my father is facing you and not me. But my father has always been to my grandmother, they are all very filial. Do you think my father will face my grandmother, or will you? You are threatening me. Meng Yang already knows Luo Xing's purpose. His plan with his grandfather must be at least until Luo Xiu's mother returns. Let Luo Xiu not sever ties with him. That's why he came to apology with such a low voice and said that he wanted to get along with him peacefully. In fact, he also meant to use Luo Xiu's mother to threaten him. Luo Xiu's mother was abroad and accompanied her lover for 10 years to receive treatment. Luo Xiu's mother's lover was very sick, so Luo Xiu's mother did not want to leave him in one step. Even Meng Yang married Luo Xiu, such a big thing, his mother did not come back. It can be seen how much Luo Xiu's mother likes this lover. I'm not threatening you, but I don't think it makes sense for us to continue fighting like this, so I really feel like living with you peacefully. Meng Yang sneered in his heart and said after pretending to think. Although what you said makes sense, but let me accept your apology so easily, I am really unwilling. So what do you want? I hope you can show me your sincerity. You said, I will do it. First of all, I have married your father. It is already true that I am your elder. I hope you will take the attitude towards elders in the future when facing me. I will be with my brothers the day after tomorrow to celebrate. You also call you Junchen and your friends. Let me see if you have really made up your mind to admit that I am an elder and be able to live in harmony with me. Okay, the banquet will be celebrated the day after tomorrow, and I will bear all the costs. Luo Xing said. See you the day after tomorrow. Meng Yang got up and walked away. Since he took the initiative to send him to the door, he wanted to see how he could endure. Luo Xiu and Luo Xing legally dissolved the relationship between father and son, and it takes time to go through the procedure. There are two ways to go through the procedure. One is to personally father and son, because some things have to be cut off. The second is that the father suddenly discovered that the child was not his own biological, but also needed to go through the procedures to legally sever the relationship between father and son. Meng Yang guesses that Luo Xiu must be the second choice. When the time comes, he will throw the DNA report and the book on the relationship between father and son, and throw it on Master Cheng's face. After Meng Yang entered Luo Xiu's office, he walked directly to Luo Xiu, sat down on the armrest, hugged Luo Xiu's neck, and told him that Luo Xing had come to him. Does your mother really hate me? Meng Yang asked. Luo Jiao paused after typing his hands and said, even if she comes back, you don't have to listen to whatever she says. But what if she bullies me? Will you help her, or will you protect me? Meng Yang asked with a worried tone. Luo Xiu said. You can rest assured that I will protect you and will not let anyone bully you, even if she is my mother. With your words, I will feel at ease, thank you Uncle Luo. Meng Yang kissed Luo Xiu's face, got up and sat down on Luo Xiu's lap, looked at him and said, my domestic won the first place in the youth competition. Last time you said yes, you have to promise me a request. You said. Luo Xiudao. I want you to accompany me to go abroad to participate in the competition. Luo Xiu opened the time schedule on his computer, and after glancing at it, he agreed. Okay, I will try my best to arrange the time. Thank you Uncle Luo. Meng Yang finished and kissed Luo Xiu's mouth. Luo Xiu embraced Meng Yang's pink lips and tongue and sucked seriously. The two kissed seriously and enjoyably, and time passed quickly. Meng Yang appointed Luo Sheng to take friends with him at the Bishui villa in Cheng's family. After Luo Sheng obtained the consent of his grandfather, he immediately asked someone to prepare. On the day of the party, Luo Sheng took Yu Junchen and his friends, and set off to Bishui villa to wait for Meng Yang. They thought they were the same friends gathering as usual and called all his friends. Went. After they arrived at Bishui villa, Yu Junchen was planning to play in the villa first, but Luo Sheng asked them to wait in the reception hall. Although they didn't know what they were waiting for, they didn't ask much. Anyway, so many people were there. Together, we can chat for a while just by chatting. Yu Junchen got up and walked to the table next to the fruit snacks, poured himself a glass of freshly squeezed juice. When he was about to drink, Luo Sheng walked over to him and whispered, no matter what happens later don't say anything about anything, just keep silent. What will happen in a moment? Yu Junchen asked doubtfully. I must now achieve temporary reconciliation with Meng Yang. For a longer-term future and plan, I must have enough patience, which cannot be tolerated by ordinary people, is one of the necessary conditions for successful people. Luo Sheng's eyes said firmly. Meng Yang. Yu Junchen asked unexpectedly. Will Meng Yang also come? You believe me, everything is only temporary, and everything I do now will one day be doubled to make him return. At that time, I will definitely let him die better than life. Luo Sheng gritted his teeth, and this is not so much to Junchen as to say to himself. Luo Sheng does not expect Meng Yang to reconcile with him, but he knows that Meng Yang will not miss the opportunity to torture him. When Yu Junchen was about to continue to ask what was going on, Meng Yang had already brought Lu Yunjing and his fellow brethren, as well as Xiao Ku and his friends, into it. Luo Sheng, best friend and Yu Junchen, best friend stood up immediately after they saw it. They thought that Meng Yang had brought people to trouble. They thought that Meng Yang was really bold. This is the Cheng family's place. Dare to come. On the Meng Yang side, apart from Lu Yunjing, no one knew why Luo Sheng was here. So the people on both sides began to give way to each other again. Meng Yang turned his head and looked at Luo Sheng. The author has something to say. Everyone is happy on June 1st, I wish you all a childlike heart, and be happy like a child every day. Thank you for the little angel who voted for me or irrigated nutrient solution. Thank you for the little angels who cast grenades. One from Wakui and Distant Star River, thank you for the angels who cast mines. 6 distant stars, concubine, meet love, sweet lily, there is no way to be lazy. Yen Yen, Yefeng dying, Koilwu, and Hijui, thanks to the little angel who irrigated nutrient solution. Enthusiastic netizens love to learn 76 bottles, 2,184,195,969 bottles, Juansang bamboo and raccoon 20 bottles, Hakue 12 bottles, distant Xingha 9 bottles, Zifei fish 6 bottles, Muzi, Ma Ziazir, Swachin, a high bow, eat a 5 bottles of milk tablets, please call me 4 bottles of sparrow god, L. Xiaolu, 3 bottles of late autumn leaves, stupid buns, piercing swollen, 19220467 bottles, thank you very much for your support, I will continue to work hard. Chapter 32 You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Second. Hand married wife of a wealthy old man 32 Luo Sheng took a deep breath and said to his friends. This party today is specially prepared to celebrate my little dad's first place in the competition. Those who came here today will be friends in the future. Hope everyone can get along well and don't argue anymore. Almost everyone showed a shocked look. They looked at me and I looked at you. They thought they were hearing, or they were dreaming, otherwise it would be impossible to say such words from Luo Sheng's mouth. Meng Yang smiled, then glanced at the neatly arranged wine on the long table next to him, and motioned to Luo Sheng to bring a glass of wine over. Luo Sheng walked over and poured a glass of red wine and presented it to Meng Yang. Meng Yang glanced at the wine in his hand and said, "White wine." Luo Sheng immediately turned around to change in the shocked eyes of others. After secretly taking a deep breath, he put down the red wine and poured another glass of white wine to Meng Yang. After receiving the glass, Meng Yang said to everyone, "Thank you for coming to celebrate today. As you can see, I have reconciled with Luo Sheng. Luo Sheng is willing to admit and respect my elders. So let him pass the things that have passed, and the most important thing now and in the future. Today everyone will have fun, I hope everyone has fun and have fun, and I would like to express my gratitude to everyone." Meng Yang picked up the glass, took a small sip, and then handed the glass to Luo Sheng, smiling and said to the others. "Don't stand here, it's rare to have such a good weather, go play go." Although the others are still unknown, after Meng Yang took the people out, they went out in 2s and 3s, and whispered to discuss what was going on. What's wrong with Luo Sheng? Really admit that Meng Yang is the stepfather. Is this impossible? Luo Sheng said of Meng Yang before, it was his teeth, he wished to tear him off, and now such a sudden change is too unbelievable. Isn't it because of the previous news? But is there no follow-up for the news? Luo Sheng and his father did not admit that the news is true. Let's find an opportunity to ask Luo Sheng what is going on. While enjoying the scenery, Meng Yang walked forward to the pavilion and said to Luo Sheng who was behind him, "I heard that the spring water in Bishui Villa is very good. You can let me use the spring water to make tea." Yes, Luo Sheng immediately turned around and went back to make Meng Yang make tea. Meng Yang walked into the pavilion and sat down, Luo Sheng soon brought the tea in person. Meng Yang opened the lid of the teacup and glanced at it, and said, "I don't drink green tea, it hurts my stomach, and I make a cup of black tea." Yes. Luo Sheng didn't say anything, and immediately turned around to make another pot of black tea. Luo Sheng's actions, let alone others, even Yu Junchen was shocked and very uncomfortable. He finally understood what Luo Sheng said just now, but when he saw Luo Sheng treat Meng Yang with such respect and low profile, he felt very tight and uncomfortable. After the tea was delivered, Meng Yang took a sip of the tea cup and put it on the stone table next to him. He said to Luo Sheng, "I hope that everything you do today is from the heart and will continue to be maintained in the future. Then, in the future, we will be able to live in harmony without fighting. You go talk with your friends, they will still be waiting for your explanation. I will call you if there is something." "Okay." Luo Sheng nodded, then turned to his friends. Xiao Ke walked to Meng Yang and asked in a low voice, "Are you really reconciled with Luo Sheng?" Although Xiao Ke thought it was impossible, he was still worried. "It's true on the surface, but it's really not true." Meng Yang smiled and said, "It's really good or fake, I want to regret it at any time, now I want to see if he really how bearable." Xiao Ke immediately understood what he meant, and nodded slightly. "Need me to test it for you? Does he have patience?" "Okay." Meng Yang agreed. "This is just the beginning, it is best not to go too far, it is appropriate, otherwise it will not be able to play. Lu Yunjing whispered. I know what I have. Xiao Ku said. If you only have to play it once, you won't have to play it. What a pity. Wu Feng walked to Meng Yang and asked, what is going on? Isn't it here to play today? Brother, all you have to do is play as much as you like. You should play, eat, and other things don't have to be bothered. Meng Yang said. Then we can take a look around, the scenery here is really good, if something happens, you call us. Wu Feng said. Well, go. Meng Yang nodded. After drinking tea, Meng Yang also walked around with Lu Yunjing and Xiao Ku. Xiao Ku suddenly pointed to the surface of the pond and said, these fish look good, with gold patterns on the red background, and the shape is also beautiful. You will know that the price is expensive at first glance. It is better to use these fish. Kind. This is the Qing family's villa. Luo Sheng is just the grandson of the Qing family, he may not be able to do what the Lord can give things here. Lu Yunjing said. Although Luo Sheng is a grandson, Grandpa Cheng's expectation of him is higher than that of his grandson, and he invests more in him than his grandson. Meng Yang said. Just take this opportunity to see. Grandpa Cheng is willing to do this for grandson Luo Sheng. Then I called him. Xiao Ku asked. Meng Yang nodded. Xiao Ku turned around and walked a few steps behind, then shouted. Luo Sheng, come over for a moment. Xiao Ku's call was not only heard by Luo Sheng, but also by others. When Luo Sheng walked past, others could not help but surrounded him, wanting to see what they wanted Luo Sheng to do. Luo Sheng, your little dad said, these fish in the pond make people feel like watching them. I said that if he likes them, it would be better to take them back to watch. What do you think? Xiao Ku asked Luo Sheng when he looked at them. Luo Sheng looked at the few fish in the pond in amazement, and those prices were the second most expensive, but now they are difficult to buy with money. The most important thing is that his grandfather likes these fish very much, every time he comes have a look. It seems impossible. Xiao Ku looked at Meng Yang and said, I really thought that your son will be filial to you from today. Meng Yang. Yu Junchen wanted to step forward and was stopped by Luo Sheng. Several fish are worthless. Since the little dad likes it, I'll let people pick up the things and pick them up. The little dad takes it back to watch and play. Luo Sheng said and turned to pull Yu Junchen away. Yu Junchen stared at him with wide eyes, and those grandpa's favorite fish, he didn't even get his grandpa's consent, said to send it away. Luo Sheng would not give the fish to Meng Yang without his grandfather's consent, because without his grandfather's consent, the manager of the villa could not get people to fish for him, so he only called his grandfather before take people and things to fish in the pond. After putting the fish in a white porcelain fish tank that only 2 people could lift, he lifted them to Meng Yang in front of him. Meng Yang nodded with satisfaction. It's good, it looks more beautiful in the near future, send it to the main house of Longling Mountain, let the housekeeper put it in my lounge. After the fish tank was carried away, Meng Yang said he was hungry, and Luo Sheng immediately asked people to notify the kitchen, and then took them to the dining place. After entering the elegantly furnished room, Meng Yang sat on the top seat of the main seat, and the others were seated on both sides. Meng Yang turned to glance at the censer that was smoking smoke next to him, got up and walked slowly, and watched it carefully. The bronze censer was of suitable size and the pattern was very beautiful. Meng Yang saw this as an antique, and the value is extremely high. Luo Sheng said before Meng Yang said, if Dad likes it, he will bring it back together. Then I won't be polite to you. Meng Yang said with a smile, then walked back to sit on the bed. Yu Junchen lowered his head and clenched his fists tightly. Last time he told Luo Sheng that he liked the incense burner very much, and Luo Sheng said that it was a pity that his grandfather liked it, otherwise he would come to give it to him, but now Meng Yang just gave him a few glances, and Luo Sheng sent it straight out. Although he knew Luo Sheng had a purpose, he still felt angry. The waiter came in with a tray to serve. This is boiled fish in spring water. The fish tender and tender fish soup is delicious and sweet. It is our signature dish at Bishui Villa. Please drink some soup to warm your stomach before you try this fish. The staff serving the dish to Meng Yang said. Meng Yang took a mouthful of fish soup, nodded with satisfaction, and then asked, "Is this fish thorny?" "There are no small thorns, only a little fish bone and large thorns. Let me pick out the guests. You don't need to do it yourself." Meng Yang put down the soup bowl and looked at Luo Sheng. "I'll come," Luo Sheng said. The waiter gave Luo Sheng a surprised look, but stood up and stood aside. Luo Sheng helped Meng Yang to pick out the fish bones and thorns, and then put the fish meat in front of Meng Yang. Meng Yang took a small bite with chopsticks and said, "Yes, it's a signature dish." After all the dishes served, Luo Sheng personally helped Meng Yang set the table. Yu Junchen had no appetite. He watched Luo Sheng wait for Meng Yang to eat, and he felt sad, but Luo Sheng told him not to say a word, otherwise all his patience would be in vain. Luo Sheng's friends looked at Luo Sheng and looked at the food in front of them, and they couldn't eat any more. They were very angry for Luo Sheng. Lu Yunjing and Wu Feng are very happy to eat. After all, the taste of these dishes is really good. Meng Yang, a friend of Luo Sheng, couldn't help but stood at the table and slammed up, shouting at Meng Yang. "Don't go too far." Meng Yang slowly raised his head and looked at the man with cold eyes. Meng Yang deliberately asked Luo Sheng to serve him for dinner. Luo Sheng himself could not help but seriously serve Meng Yang in the presence of his filial son, but Luo Sheng's friends couldn't help but be angry, patting the table and scolding Meng Yang too much. Meng Yang thought, this was too much for what Luo Sheng had done to him in his previous life. He did and put Luo Sheng's face on the ground and stepped on it. He was already very kind-hearted, and letting him serve a few dishes was too much. Meng Yang gave the man a cold look and didn't speak, because at this time, he didn't need to speak. Is this son's filial father, isn't it justified? Xiao Ku looked at the man and said, and this is someone else's family affair. Luo Sheng didn't say anything. Why are you yelling here? Maybe it's a bit of nosy business, right? Luo Sheng, you are your father's biological son. Why don't you be mad at him? If you still have a bit of guts, slap him and kick him out. Shut up. Luo Sheng got up and shouted, I can't take care of my business. If you don't get used to it, get out. You. Du Ming looked at Luo Sheng in disbelief and said. I have known you since I was a few years old, and I have been in friendship for more than 10 years. Among these friends, there are a few who are really good for you like this. Don't you know it? Even the real elders should respect each other, but he is now deliberately torturing you. What you think you do will make him really let go of the past and get along with you. Really? Wake up. I said, so you don't have to do much business, I do everything I do. From today, I don't have you as a friend, you leave me. Luo Sheng yelled at him ugly. Okay, let me feed the dog with kindness. Du Ming turned away in anger. Meng Yang took the fish soup and took a sip, then sneered a bit, thinking that this person really took Luo Sheng as a friend, but it was a pity that his brain was not very good and he was emotional. Sorry everyone, he is such a self-righteous and hot-tempered character, please don't worry about it. Luo Sheng said to Meng Yang after saying to other people, don't be angry, little dad, I will find opportunity to teach him. Luo Sheng's friends looked at each other, and they all felt that Luo Sheng's low-profile posture was too much. It really didn't even need dignity and face. Is it really worth it? The friends of Yu Junchen, since the advent of Meng Yang, they have not been able to figure out what the situation is, and it is even more unclear now, and there is no position for them to intervene here. But they also started to worry, even Luo Sheng succumbed to Meng Yang. They used to stand on Yu Junchen's side because Yu Junchen and Luo Sheng got together. Now it seems that they are trying to please Yu Junchen in vain. 2. After eating, Meng Yang and Lu Yunjing and his brothers walked around the villa before leaving. Luo Sheng personally helped Meng Yang to open the car door and said, "I've sent someone to the main house for what my dad has seen." Meng Yang said after getting on the bus, "I am very satisfied with your performance today, and I hope you can continue to maintain it in the future." "Thank you, little dad." Luo Sheng closed the door, and then watched as the car drove away, his hands shaking. Meng Yang thought, Luo Sheng's patience is all for the Luo family's property, but when he knew that he was not Luo Xiu's own family at all, the Luo family's property had nothing to do with him. When he got it, what kind of expression would he have when he recalled everything now? Meng Yanguang felt very happy when he imagined, and he couldn't help laughing. In his life, he will not be purely good or bad, but will only be better for the good and worse for the bad. Luo Sheng returned to his own room in the villa and smashed everything he could, but his anger could not be dissipated. He was so angry that his eyes were red and green and he was exposed. But now he must bear. The thought of this was just the beginning, and he shivered again. Yu Junchen had been standing in the corner watching Luo Sheng smashing things out of breath. Seeing Luo Sheng trembling with anger, he closed his eyes in pain, and then walked over to hug him and comforted. "It's okay, your patience is worth it. You can be so proud of yourself because all winners will have a period of time that ordinary people cannot bear. After you succeed, everything that happens now will be proof of your perseverance." Luo Sheng hugged Yu Junchen tightly. Listening to Yu Junchen's words, he slowly calmed down. The author has something to say. "I hope you can collect my column, thank you. Thank you for the little angel who voted for me or an irrigation nutrient solution. Thank you for the little angels who cast, land mine. 2278562 Lon Haiji, Coilwu, Yi Xian, Joanna__Kane 1, thanks to the little angel who irrigated, nutrient solution. Duant wait for 100 bottles, Zhaoyue still has 10 bottles, Rong, your uncle suddenly, 5 bottles, for white foxes, 3 big cats, 2 bottles, Ma 4241 bottles, thank you very much for your support, I will continue to work hard." Chapter 33 You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Second. Hand married wife of a wealthy old man 33 Meng Yang is not only busy studying, but also practicing for overseas competitions, and also has to complete the last license examination for aromatherapists. "Sometimes my brain is really tired, so I ride a horse and run a lap on Longling Mountain to relax my brain." Bray Lei was invited by Luo Xiu's brother Luo Qi to be a guest. Just off the gate of the mansion, he saw a noble and elegant light golden horse running, and when he looked at the person he immediately froze. Living. He seemed to see an illusion. Under the bright sunshine, a delicate and beautiful elven prince was running towards him on a horse. How he hoped that this heart-pumping prince could leap from the horse immediately. Rushed into his arms. Meng Yang was thinking about other things, so he didn't see Brayley and ran away on horseback. Blair's eyes followed Meng Yang closely until Meng Yang disappeared into his sight, and he never recovered. "Mr. Brayley, please come in." Luo Qi saw that he ignored him and raised his voice again. "Mr. Brayley." Brayley recovered, and turned to look at Luo Qi. "Please inside." Luo Qi raised his hand. "Mr. Luo, that was?" Brayley asked tentatively as he walked in. He pretended not to know Meng Yang before he could inquire about something he wanted to know. "That's my elder brother's wife. They didn't get married long before." Luo Qi replied. "Really? But he still looks very young." "He is indeed very young, the same age as my elder brother's son." "Oh." Brayley pretended to be surprised. "How did they meet and get married?" "I don't know this. My elder brother suddenly said he wanted to get married and still love his son's predecessor." His son's ex-lover, what's going on? Breely was really surprised this time. Go around and talk inside. When the day to go abroad came, Luo Xiu agreed to Meng Yang and would accompany him to go abroad, but even if he had tried his best to free up time, he would not go abroad until 2 days later than Meng Yang. However, Meng Yang did not play the game as soon as they arrived abroad, so Luo Xiu didn't have to go 2 days later. After you arrange your work, you must come to me immediately and you can't miss my game, you know. Meng Yang hugged Luo Xiu's waist and looked up. Relax, I won't miss your game. Luo Xiu replied. After Meng Yang and they went abroad, they still had 4 or 5 days to start the competition. Luo Xiu had no time. Meng Yang raised his arms around Luo Xiu's neck and kissed his lips with his feet. Luo Xiu put one arm around his waist and kept holding his chin to kiss him. Luo Xiu sent Meng Yang outside the airport. Meng Yang reluctantly said goodbye to him, and then got off the bus to meet his brothers. When they go abroad, they represent both individuals and schools, and there are several masters in the same industry. Another advantage of being a master is that even if you do not get the qualification to participate in international competitions, you can be funded by the school to go along with you to learn. They went abroad a few days before the competition started because they were going to visit several perfume parks and plantations to buy some spices. After getting off the plane, no one thought that it would be Breely to pick them up. Welcome to you. Breely shook hands with several masters, and then said with a smile. This time everyone's reception work, I am fully responsible, a few old gentlemen please. The students were very surprised, because no matter how, no one like Breely could do the reception work. After watching the masters get on the bus and leave, Blair turned and looked at the students and said, please also get in the car, students. After the masters left, the students finally couldn't suppress their inner excitement. They looked at the idol in the perfume world happily and said they wanted to take a picture with him. In the next few days, we will meet every day. There are many opportunities for group photos, so don't worry, go to the hotel to rest first. Breely said gently. Most of the classmates are fascinated by Brewen's gentle manners, and this same sex marriageable world is fascinated by the charm of a person, regardless of gender. More than a dozen black cars in the back are already waiting. When the students are going to get on the train one after another, Breely walked to Meng Yang and looked at him and asked, can you take my car? Meng Yang looked at him and said, no, I'll be with them. Everyone looked at it and wondered why Breely only invited Meng Yang alone. Breely looked at Meng Yang and smiled, then nodded and turned into the car. After the students arrived at the hotel, every 2 students had a room, and Breely's assistant distributed the room card to them. Because the number is exactly singular, Meng Yang is alone in a room. Meng Yang is not used to sharing a room with others. Since he happens to be in a room alone, he is also lucky. When they reached the floor of their room, Meng Yang opened the door with his room card and froze when he entered. He bowed his head and thought for a while, then turned and left his room to go to Wu Feng and Qin Hong's room. Meng Yang glanced at the rooms of Wu Feng and Qin Hong and said to Wu Feng, brother, I don't want to sleep in a room by myself. Can I sleep in a room with you? Okay. Wu Feng didn't ask much, he immediately agreed, and then said to Qin Hong, you go to Meng Yang's room to sleep. Qin Hong drove Wu Feng away without hesitation, and looked at Wu Feng with an aggrieved look. Stunned what to do, go quickly. Wu Feng urged, said to Meng Yang. Meng Yang, you give him the room card. Sorry brother Qin. Meng Yang said after giving the room card to Qin Hong. It's okay. Qin Hong walked out with the room card. After putting things in place, Meng Yang said to Wu Feng, brother, I'll make a call. Well. Wu Feng nodded. Meng Yang walked into the bathroom with his mobile phone and called Luo Xiu. After answering Luo Xiu's call, Meng Yang told him that he had arrived at the hotel, so he would rather come later than stay up late. Now the two of them are really like people in love, even if they are talking about something that is not important, they can speak for a long time, because they are reluctant to hang up. As long as they hear each other's voice, there is a feeling of happiness. Although Meng Yang didn't want to hang up, in order not to disturb Luo Xiu's work, he told Luo Xiu that he would contact him at night and then hung up. "Call your husband," Wu Feng said, looking at Meng Yang coming out of the bathroom. "Ha!" Meng Yang nodded with a smile and sat down on the sofa. "It seems that you really like Luo Dong." Wu Feng looked at Meng Yang's face and said, "It's just a phone call." "It's such a happy and sweet look." Meng Yang just smiled and didn't speak. He and Uncle Luo are now in love. Although Uncle Luo has never loved him, recently, Meng Yang has been able to feel his response and love. Qin Hong walked in and said, "It's time to eat." When Meng Yang and Wu Feng got up together and were about to go out, Qin Hong looked at Meng Yang and said. Just now Blei Lei came to knock on the door and told him that it was time to eat. He saw me who opened the door, obviously unexpectedly, and the one you live in is a luxury suite. What's going on? Wu Feng looked at Meng Yang in doubt. Need help? Qin Hong also looked at Meng Yang and asked. Meng Yang thought about it and said, I still don't know what his purpose is. I guess he wants me to help him guess what spices to bid on. I don't want to accept his special treatment, so I gave the room to Qin. Brother, it should be arranged randomly. Why don't I think this is the case? Would he like you? Wu Feng said. Meng Yang froze for a moment, and then said. It is not clear what his purpose is. I found an opportunity to ask him. Before I asked him clearly, if he had any inappropriate behavior, the brothers looked at the situation to help. I will block it. Got it, let's go, the rice still needs to be eaten. Wu Feng said. They went to the hotel's restaurant for dinner, and Braley didn't show up because of something suddenly. Early the next morning, the masters went to exchange meetings in various countries. According to the original plan, the students would visit the plantation to understand the growth process of perfume raw materials. Blaley personally came to pick them up and told them to take them to his private island to visit his own perfume garden. After listening, the students felt that this was an unexpected joy. They were all excited, and their hearts were full of expectations. Meng Yang lowered his head and thought for a while. He didn't want to be affectionate and think that Braley did it because he fell in love with him. But what is certain is that Braley will never do these things for nothing. No matter what his purpose is, in order to prevent him from getting into Braley's suit all the time, it is better to guard against it. They departed from the hotel to the port, then boarded the steamer, and took the steamer to the private island of Braley. While on the ship, Meng Yang had been with Wu Feng and Qin Hong. He had seen Braley watching him several times, but he did not avoid looking away but found him instead of looking away. After arriving at Braley's private island, the students happily got off the steamer, and they could not wait to visit the island. Don't worry, students, let me take you to rest and have something to eat, and then take you to visit. Braley said with a smile. In fact, the main reason for inviting everyone to come today is because I have something to think about. If you want to ask Meng Yang, I am sure he wouldn't come if I invited him alone, so I changed my original itinerary, and I hope you don't mind. The students all looked at Meng Yang, thinking that they had the blessing of Meng Yang, so they could come to Braley's private island, but even so, they were still very happy. When Yuan's face immediately changed. If he knew that they had come here because of Meng Yang, he would not come. Yu Junchen lowered his head slightly, no expression on his face, no one knew what he was thinking. I want to give you a brief introduction to this island. This island is called Sirius. Translated, it means love, and this island has a fascinating charm. After you visit, you will understand what I said. Meaning. Braley looked at Meng Yang and said, I've been studying your Oriental aroma therapy for 2 years. Meng Yang, I hope to help you confirm the quality of several spices with your sensitive sense of smell. I can take you to visit my private studio and collection room alone. Most of the students looked at Meng Yang with envious eyes. Sorry Mr. Brayley, I am still just a student and can't help people judge the quality of spices, so it is more appropriate for Mr. Brayley to ask a more professional person to identify. The reason is just an excuse. You are too modest, I believe your strength has reached professional standards. Brayley looked at Meng Yang and said. If Meng Yang still doesn't show the meaning in his eyes, then he is really stupid. Even Yu Junchen could see that Brayley liked Meng Yang. Brayley didn't say anything else, let people arrange for the students to get on the bus and take them to the old castle in the center of the island to rest. Brayley personally helped Meng Yang open the door, and then waited for him to get on the bus. Meng Yang, who was originally about to get on the bus, stopped and watched his move. Thank you Mr. Brayley. Wu Feng walked in front of Meng Yang and got on the bus. Thank you. Qin Hong also nodded to Brayley, then got on the bus. Meng Yang finally got on the bus. Faced with this situation, Brayley just smiled slightly, and then helped them close the door. The students looked at the beautiful scenery like an oil painting through the car window. They couldn't help but admire it, and then chatted to Meng Yang. Unexpectedly, we were able to come here because of the blessing of Meng Yang. This is actually not a particularly surprising thing. Didn't the teacher say it before coming? Meng Yang should be able to get a very good ranking this time. Geniuses like Meng Yang are not valued by other international masters. Normal thing. The same is true of geniuses like him. It really has a lot of benefits. We are also envious. Among the students of Master Su and Master Lin, I originally thought that Yu Junchen would be the genius that attracted the highest attention. Unexpectedly, Meng Yang suddenly appeared, and now even Yu Junchen can't compare with him. Although it is now clear that Meng Yang is more powerful than Yu Junchen, no one is sure about what happened afterwards. Perhaps Yu Junchen can break through himself and surpass Meng Yang again. When Yuan sat in the car and said with a cold face, if we knew that Brayley had invited us to come because of Meng Yang, we should not come here. It seemed that we were exposed to Meng Yang's light. Who is rare? Dip his light. Everyone else wants to come. It is useless to oppose us, and we cannot act alone. Zhao Ji said. When Yuan was quite happy when he was on the ship. He felt that they were lucky, and he could be invited by Bray to visit his private island. Now that he knows the reason behind this good luck, he can't be happy anymore. Yu Junchen looked at the window and meditated. He recalled that Brayley had just looked at Meng Yang's eyes. He had determined that Brayley liked Meng Yang, but with the lessons of the last time, he did not dare to act lightly. He felt that he had made a mistake. If he did and rashly tell Luo Sheng that someone had entered Meng Yang's room last time, he would now find a way to grab Meng Yang's handle, and the situation might become completely different. They ate and drank in the castle, and after a rest, they began to visit the island. Just like Brayley said, this island really has great charm. The more you understand it, the more you are fascinated. Although Meng Yang refused to help Brayley confirm the quality of the spices, Brayley invited Meng Yang to visit his studio alone, and Meng Yang also refused. In the evening, Brayley came to Meng Yang and said that he wanted to talk to him. After thinking about it for a while, Meng Yang thought that he should talk to him, so he asked Wu Feng to go to Qin Hong's room for a while. And come back in 10 minutes. What do you want to say? Meng Yang looked at him and asked. You should have felt my feelings for you, so have you been avoiding me, right? Brayley said very bluntly. I want to remind you, Mr. Brayley, that I am already married. Meng Yang said solemnly and seriously. Keeping an appropriate distance from me is respect for me and respect for yourself. Brayley said. Actually, you don't have to guard against me so much. I won't do anything to you before you get divorced. Now, I just want to be an ordinary friend with you. But wait for you to divorce your current husband. After that, I hope you can give me a chance to pursue you. Why do you want me to divorce my husband? Meng Yang said displeasedly. After you broke up with your ex-boyfriend, you soon married your father. Before then, you didn't even know your current husband, so you can't get married because of love. Although I always wanted to know, what is the chance of your marriage, but I guess that your marriage contract is very likely, just a nameless marriage. I have no obligation to answer your conjecture, how are you all your business, it has nothing to do with me, you just need to know, I love my husband very much, we will be together for life, absolutely impossible to divorce, so you want the chance there is no possibility. Meng Yang said firmly in his eyes. You love your husband, but he doesn't necessarily love you. You don't even have a husband and wife. With your wishful thinking, how long can your marriage last? Braley asked. Mr. Braley. Meng Yang said solemnly. Your words have been raised, what are your qualifications to comment on and judge the marriage between me and my husband? I think I have nothing to talk to you, please go out. But Braley said suddenly with a happy smile. You didn't immediately deny me, it proved that my guess was correct. It turns out that you and your husband really don't have a husband and wife. Meng Yang was really angry. He took out his mobile phone and dialed Luo Xiu's phone and asked Luo Xiu to send someone to pick him up. Hello, Uncle Luo, I'm on Sirius Island now, you make people. Meng Yang's words hadn't spoken yet, and the phone had been taken by Braley. Give me back. Meng Yang said angrily. Meng Yang. Luo Xiu's voice came from the phone. Braley held Meng Yang's cell phone and looked at him seriously, saying. Since you and your husband have a nominal marriage agreement, is it better to divorce early? Meng Yang stood up violently and grabbed his mobile phone. The author has something to say. Today, I was really crying. Since I wrote the first book, if there are too few collections, I would rather not enter V. I do and brush a collection. I have to work hard to persist, so I see and wait until this book is pretty beautiful just after entering the V data, and I said I brushed it. Other authors write well, but the collection is only a few thousand, is it my fault? Blame me for having too many collections, so other well-written authors can't collect them. Today I put my words here. Among all my things, if a collection was brushed, I was hit by a car when I went out. Thank you for the little angel who voted for me or an irrigation nutrient solution. Thank you for the little angels who cast mines. Tao Chi, Lan Haiji, and sand sculpture netizens are much more cute for CQ1, thanks to the little angel who irrigated nutrient solution. 10 bottles of a madman, 5 bottles of Shu Shu, Qiongyu, Pianmi Shi, and Yo Yo, number 4 CQ4 bottles, 2 bottles of white-haired foxes, late autumn leaves, Pinellia flowers, 360507341 bottles. Thank you very much for your support, I will continue to work hard. Chapter 34 You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Second. Hand married wife of a wealthy old man 34 Meng Yang gave Braley a punch before grabbing his mobile phone back. When he saw that the call had been hung up and was about to dial Luo Xiu's number again, he found that the mobile phone had no signal. What did you do? Meng Yang glared and asked Braley. Is there no signal? Braley rubbed his face and said, if there is no signal, the storm is coming. It will take at least 1 day and 1 night before the storm will pass. That is to say, you will have to go back the day after tomorrow. But you can rest assured that such a storm will not exceed 3 days, so you will not miss the game time. As soon as Braley's words were finished, a strong wind blew in from the floor-to-ceiling window, and the heavy curtains were completely lifted up. The timing of all this was just right, as if Braley controlled it. Meng Yang was so angry that he lifted his collar and started beating him again. Braley did not expect Meng Yang to actually take action on him, nor did Meng Yang's strength be so great. Braley also fought from an early age, and he was actually more powerful than Meng Yang, but he was reluctant to fight back against Meng Yang, so he could only resolve and block Meng Yang's fists, but there were also those who could not stop the only suffering. As soon as Wu Feng entered the room, he saw Meng Yang beating Braley. He was taken aback and hurried to hug Meng Yang and dragged him back. Meng Yang, stop. You calm down. Wu Feng asked Meng Yang, what happened? Meng Yang slowly pushed Wu Feng away while panting, and then looked at Braley and said, get out. Sorry, I didn't expect you to be so angry. Braley looked at Meng Yang with apology. I let you get out. Meng Yang said with a cold face. Braley can only leave first, want to wait for Meng Yang to calm down tomorrow, and then talk to him. He felt that his biggest mistake was that he didn't expect Meng Yang's temper to be so hot. He counted for thousands, even the time when the storm came, but he didn't count that Meng Yang would actually deal with him directly. A person who seems so calm and self-sustaining. Braley raised his hand and touched his face again. He couldn't help laughing. He felt that he might have hidden the abuse tendency. After being beaten by Meng Yang, he actually liked him more. He thought Meng Yang, even the angry look is pretty cute. The wind outside was getting bigger and stronger, and the rainstorm had begun to fall. Wu Feng closed the floor-to-ceiling windows, and then looked at Meng Yang and asked, what is going on? How did you fight? No, why did you start hitting him? We won't be able to leave here the day after tomorrow. Meng Yang sat down on the sofa and glanced at the cell phone without signal. Wu Feng turned his head to look out of the floor-to-ceiling window again, and walked across from Meng Yang and said, this weather has become too fast. Why did it suddenly start to storm? If the wind and rain are greater tomorrow, it really can't go temporarily, shouldn't it be the next few days in a row, causing us to miss the game? I shouldn't have come if I knew it earlier. Braley said that he will stop the day after tomorrow. He is also the judge of the competition. If it is impossible for us to participate in the competition, he will bear the responsibility, so it should not be deceptive. That's good. Wu Feng was at ease. He wanted to continue to ask Meng Yang why he wanted to fight Braley. But looking at how Meng Yang didn't want to say, he just didn't continue to ask. Meng Yang was sitting in a daze, and every word that Braley had just made him angry. After so many years of hard waiting and perseverance in his previous life, he could not wait to be with Luo Xiu. Perhaps it was his hard support that got him. God's pity allows him to be reborn. In this life, he has the opportunity to start their happy life with Luo Xiu. Anyone who curses him will divorce Luo Xiuhui will be a disgusting person. Meng Yang felt that Braley also looked at him too small, thinking that he would have a good impression on him by playing a little bit of romance. He was not Yu Junchen, he was already with Luo Sheng, and he knew Wen Yuan liked him, but he was still ambiguous with Wen Yuan, enjoying the feeling of being loved by both. The storm at night is getting bigger and bigger. The storm is like the roar of a monster in the sea breaking through the sea, which can scare children into crying. Meng Yang looked at his mobile phone and didn't sleep all night. Another reason Braley said that made him angry was that his sentence Luo Xiu didn't love him and stung his heart. He and Luo Xiu did not get married because they fell in love. Although Luo Xiu had shown his feelings for him during this time, he didn't express himself personally, so he still felt a little uneasy in his heart. After Luo Xiu hung up Meng Yang's phone, he called him back more than 10 times in a row and he didn't connect. He immediately contacted the hotel and Lin Songtai. After making several phone calls, he knew that Meng Yang Brian was taken away. After more than 2 hours, Luo Xiu had reached the airport and got on his private plane to go abroad. Because Meng Yang couldn't sleep, he just got up from the bed, sat on the sofa and watched the storm outside was getting bigger and bigger, until the time when the sky should be bright, the outside was still very dark, and there was no sign of the reduction of the storm. It must have been choppy. Meng Yang thought, even if Luo Xiu rushed to this country overnight, he certainly would not be able to come to the island today, but he might come to pick him up tomorrow, but he really misses him now. While having breakfast, Braley comforted everyone and said that the stormy night will pass, and they will definitely be able to leave tomorrow. The other students were not in a hurry to leave, especially when Brayley promised to be able to leave tomorrow. They felt that it would be a lucky thing to stay one more day, because the castle is really beautiful and there are many the artworks of Lei's collection can be admired. Even if he doesn't do anything, just sitting in a daze in the hall, he can imagine that he is the royal aristocrat of this country and live a happy life here. Blayley kept looking at Meng Yang. He wanted to talk to Meng Yang again, but Meng Yang sat motionless in the hall, not even the room, and Wu Feng and Qin Hong sat on both sides of him. Larry couldn't find a chance to talk to him alone. Until about noon, Breely was still thinking about how to make Meng Yang deflate, and he was not so prepared and resistant to him. While he was thinking seriously, a group of people suddenly came in from the outside and let the hall sit. Everyone was stunned. Uncle Luo. Meng Yang froze for a moment, then stood up suddenly and ran to Luo Xiu. He looked at Luo Xiu and said, "How did you come?" "Take a plane. This kind of weather is too dangerous." Luo Xiu held Meng Yang's face and carefully observed the expression on Meng Yang's face. He saw that Meng Yang had no other feelings of grievance except for the expression that worried him, so he temporarily rested his mind and took Meng Yang's face. He embraced his arms and kissed his forehead. Meng Yang felt Luo Xiu's lips trembling slightly. He froze again, looked up at Luo Xiu and shouted. "Uncle Luo! Brayley, you are too mischievous. You know that there will be storms last night and today. You actually brought these students to the island without permission." A woman in a formal dress walked to Brayley and watched him teach. "Any one of them has something wrong, can you afford the responsibility? Since I brought them, I will naturally be responsible for their safety and can guarantee that they will not do anything." Brayley looked at his sister and said calmly. "What you said is really easy. I see how you are going to be responsible next." Isari glared at Blayley. "Speaking of such a big storm, the plane can't fly, and even the ship can't go to sea. How did you come?" Blayley asked curiously. "You can't go in the sky, you can't go in the sea, but you seem to have forgotten, and you can go in the sea." Luo Xiu hugged Meng Yang and walked to Brayley. "Submarine." Even Blayley was shocked. Luo Xiu actually used the submarine in order to take Meng Yang back one day earlier. That's not something like a private jet, as long as someone with special money can have it. Luo Xiu must have paid a considerable price to borrow the submarine. Luo Xiu looked at him and said, "I heard that you are a very intelligent person, but why didn't you think that after removing 2 of the 3 possibilities, the only one remaining is the correct answer?" Brayley looked down at him unwillingly and said, "Dong Luo is really brave enough, but is it necessary? I just took the students to visit the island, and did not plan to do anything. Is it because you are not confident? It seems that you haven't really loved, so you can't understand my feelings. For those who really love, the other half refers to half of their lives, and there is nothing more precious than life, when my other half of my life cannot be determined for safety. I must get him back quickly at any cost." Meng Yang looked up at Luo Xiu, his eyes gradually getting wet. Other students listened to Luo Xiu and were shocked that Luo Xiu actually loved Meng Yang so much. Luo Xiu and Blayley's eyes met, with invisible sparks flashing, the atmosphere of confrontation between the two, even the people next to them could not help feeling nervous. Brayley was nearly 10 years younger than Luo Xiu, and he did not have the experience of controlling the overall situation for many years. Therefore, he must be comparable to Luo Xiu. Yu Junchen looked at the scene in front of him, and then looked at Meng Yang. He silently meditated under his head. 2 men with extraordinary appearances and extraordinary status were diametrically opposed for Meng Yang. At the same time, he loved him deeply, but he didn't know why, but he felt a little envious of Meng Yang. Luo Xiu and Meng Yang left first, and the other students will leave after the storm tomorrow. The trouble you made, but ask me and my father to clean up the mess for you. Isari glared at Brayley and said. Father and elder brother have cooperated with Luo Xiu's company, it has been going on for more than a year, if he has offended him now, their cooperation will most likely not continue. If all the preparations that took time, effort, and money have failed, you better bear the consequences yourself. Luo Xiu is essentially a born businessman, and he has to bear a lot of losses when he terminates his cooperation, so he will definitely take care of the overall situation and will not be so stubborn. Besides, I did not do anything to Meng Yang, just wanted to test him. Just a moment. Breely whispered. But it seems to me that it is self-defeating. You said it was easy. He didn't cooperate with his father and elder brother, or a large number of people could cooperate. Others are waiting in line. You are giving them opportunities to create. See how your father will clean up this time. Breely evasively avoided his sister's eyes, then turned back to the room. After Luo Xiu brought Meng Yang back to the hotel, as soon as he entered the room, he pressed Meng Yang to the bed and kissed him deeply. Meng Yang hugged his neck, because he kissed too hard to respond, and could only bear with his mouth open. He was smugly kissed by Luo Xiu. When he recovered a little, he found that his underwear had been taken off. Uncle Luo. Meng Yang leaned his chin and hugged Luo Xiu's shoulder, feeling a little nervous because he knew what Luo Xiu was going to do next. Meng Yang, Luo Xiu suddenly stopped and looked at Meng Yang firmly. You have no chance to regret it. No matter now or in the future, even if you find that your love for me is not true love, even if there is a comparison I am more suitable for your people. Even if you fall in love with others in the future, I will definitely not let you go. Even if you want to go, I must keep you by your side. After Meng Yang came to his side, his state of mind began to change before he even realized it. Over the years, he thought he was used to loneliness. He thought that his closed heart would never allow anyone to come in, but the little guy under him squeezed in through the crack in his atrium. Like an unreasonable little robber, he occupied his whole heart and became his territory. With tears in his eyes, Meng Yang said, I will never regret it. I will be entangled with you all my life and I won't let go. Even if it's dead, I will be buried with you. No one wants to separate me from you, not even you. No one knows more than Meng Yang how much he loves Luo Xiu. His previous life was struggling for 15 years in a hell-like life, just to wait for him. The tone in his heart has never been cut off. This life is finally how can he easily let go of the happiness he can get. The two people's words of affection are like they are talking harshly with the enemy. That's because they have made the determination to continue to love until they die, and they also love the extreme emotions and moods. They kissed and hugged each other, and expressed love with action. From now on, there is no distance between them, and they are tightly combined to become a real couple. The author has something to say. In fact, I look at the clicks and comments of Chapter 5 every day, and I think about it. There are so many people who like to watch and are willing to read. There are indeed some shortcomings in the article, and it is difficult to adjust the public. It is inevitable that there will be dislikes and criticisms. I don't care too much. But yesterday I was suffocated by the comment like mental retardation, because I thought about my perseverance, cherish my feathers, and strictly abide by the rules and principles. I have no reason to say that I brushed the collection, and she also wrote other texts that she thought were better than me. Worthy of being a keyboard man. Thank you for your comfort and encouragement. I have calmed down now. I will not quarrel again when I have such comments in the future. I will let her report me directly and let the administrator check me. I am not afraid of the oblique shadow, and I can prove my innocence by checking it. In the future, I will apply for collection self-examination every time, that is, the author applies to the administrator himself to let the administrator check the collection, and then the red eye and the black sun say that I brushed the collection and I can block their mouths. Thank you again for your trust and support. Thank you for the little angel who voted for me or an irrigation nutrient solution. Thank you for the little angel who cast rocket cannon. There are one more lovely sand sculpture netizens. Thank you for the little angels who cast grenade. 2 Presidents of Xinjiang Reminder Association, 1 chuanxiong and 1 big cherries, thank you for the little angels who cast, land mine. Piggy, white wine, Jun Weiqing, 0 color, yellow steamed bun, Shi Mo, Yi Feng dying, Joanna __ Kane 1, thanks to the little angel who irrigated, nutrient solution. Waste 62 bottles, Haradai 50 bottles, I love it, 30 bottles, Mu Yueshi 21 bottles, Hua Luo 244877074, Gu Mumu 20 bottles of floating life, Iamco 15 bottles, Lin someone 14 bottles, 12 bottles of the President of Jinjiang Reminder Association, Eat a Pumpkin Pie, Hairball, Qingxing, Chuanxiu, Mumu, Yo-Yo, Shenmei, Kaiwang 10 bottles, Fluorite. 8 bottles, there are more than 6 bottles of mulberry, super invincible and lovely, 300 million light years, Lingling Luo, my family has 2 little fat pigs, empty mountain whispers, little ants, and a half, 3 bottles, Munin Demon King, Xian, Ian Love Fish 2 bottles, you, kid. Shui Tang Tang, Confusing 1314, Blooming Pinelia, Drunken Plumes in a Fleeting Year, Lemon Essence, Yi Chen, Ma Yan Xing 1 bottle, thank you very much for your support, I will continue to work hard. Chapter 35 You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The rich second married man's wife 35 Meng Yang was lying sideways in Luo Xiu's arms, breathing hard, and there were tears on his face, because he cried a lot, he felt very painful just now, but he was also very comfortable. This experience, mixed with pain and comfort, was too irritating for him to cry. Meng Yang's voice was a little dumb. Luo Xiu got out of the bed and poured a cup of warm water, and then he was held in his arms to feed him. Luo Xiu put the drinking glass on the bedside table, then continued to lie down and hug Meng Yang, buried his face at his neck, and smelled the fragrance of his body seriously and enjoyably. Luo Xiu thought that Meng Yang's body would only emit this tantalizing and sweet smell when he fell asleep at night, but after doing it, the sweet smell on his body smelled better. People feel addicted. Meng Yang hugged Luo Xiu tightly, his body still trembling slightly, because Yu Yun hadn't receded, and his body didn't break away from the feeling just now. Uncle Luo, let's have a baby as soon as possible. Meng Yang said hoarsely. Well, it's really time to have your own child. Luo Xiu replied. Now that they are a veritable husband and wife relationship, he feels that he is at this age and should have his own child. Moreover, his current abilities and strength are enough to protect Meng Yang and their children to have a stable life. Moreover, he has been tolerant for so many years, and his plans and actions against the Qing family can also be started. My own child? Meng Yang asked in a puzzled manner. Don't you already have one? Although I know you don't like Luo Sheng, the blood relationship can't be changed. Luo Sheng is not my son. It was his mother and the ex-boyfriend who was forced to break up because they were too poor. She got pregnant after cheating. Luo Xiu sat up and hugged Meng Yang in his arms and said. My mother and Luo Sheng were forced to get married at home. At that time, I was still young. I thought that even if there was no love, everyone would live in a respectful relationship. But Luo Sheng's mother was arrogant, and her character was really unbearable, so I thought about it, so I will try to keep her as far as possible in the future. We were forced into the same room several times by my family. His mother gave me medicine in the tea. Actually, I know it, but I didn't deliberately wear it, and I knew what was happening to us. Nothing happened, but soon after, she was pregnant. So why didn't you tell the truth? Meng Yang asked. I was thinking that Luo Sheng's mother didn't voluntarily marry me, nor did I voluntarily marry her, we never had any feelings, so even if she was pregnant with someone else's child, I didn't feel anything in my heart. That is, the influence of the Qing family was greater than that of ours, and my father was not as smart and capable as the old man Cheng, so if this thing is out of order, it is actually not good for our family. I just thought, wait for me to finish after studying. I went out to establish my own portal and found another reason to divorce Luo Sheng's mother. Then she and her ex-boyfriend succeeded, and then it was revealed that Luo Sheng was not my biological son's thing. But before I graduated, my father, when the disease passed away, I had to carry the Luojia industry on my shoulders, and the Qing family suddenly saw my father go. At that time, it was the time when the Luojia company encountered a crisis. They immediately began to fall down on our company. I trampled the Luo family to death. At first, I thought that Mr. Qing did this because he knew that Luo Sheng was not my son, but after many temptations, he found him and informed, and after I let Luojia successful stand up, he also inherited the dream of doing let Luojia Sheng industry. Meng Yang raised his head, touched his face with his hand, and looked at him distressedly, saying, "In those years, you must have suffered a lot and suffered a lot of anger." "It's all over," Luo Xiu said quietly, and in these words, there was sadness that ordinary people could not understand. "It would be nice if I could be with you." Meng Yang hoped that he could face those hard days with Luo Xiu. "You come to me now is the best time." Luo Xiu kissed his palm and said, "I hope you can live a happy life every day, do not want you to work hard with me, and if that when I meet you, I see I ain't care about you at all, and I won't be with you anymore." Meng Yang drew back in Luo Xiu's arms, leaning his head on his shoulder and saying, "Since Luo Sheng is not your own, then wait for us to have the children, and then announce the truth, let them deeply feel the smell of the broken dream. I want to get pregnant soon. Uncle Luo, you have to work hard. Did you stop the effort when you were crying hoarsely?" Luo Xiu asked. "It's the kind of effort that made me pregnant." Meng Yang kissed him on the mouth, and then went back to his arms to get a good night's sleep. He didn't sleep last night, just started. After strenuous exercise, I am really tired and need sleep. Before the game started, Meng Yang did not act with other classmates anymore. Luo Xiu helped him take a leave with Lin Songtai and took him to the hotel where the game was going. This hotel is in a botanical garden, so the area is very large and very beautiful, and apart from a few high-rise buildings, the hotel is a villa. Both Meng Yang and Luo Xiu left the room occasionally during the day and went for a walk outside. They stayed in the room at other times and worked very hard to create people. 2 days later, several masters and Wu Feng also came. Meng Yang went to meet them. Wu Feng looked at Meng Yang's face and said, "It's only been 2 or 3 days that I haven't seen you. You seem to have become a little different." "How is it different?" Meng Yang asked doubtfully. "How do I think your face is glowing?" "It seems to look better," Wu Feng said. Meng Yang smiled and did not speak, thinking that if his face was really glowing, it would definitely be a happy light. Before the start of the competition, some preparations have to be made. Contestants from other countries have also arrived in succession. Journalists are also busy conducting interviews. Several masters and students casually entered a lounge, waiting for the staff of the organizer to come and take them to see how to arrange the auditorium to be arranged for them. When the competition starts tomorrow, they will not be rushed around. Suddenly a few people walked in quickly. They thought they took them to the auditorium, but those who said hurriedly, "Sorry, please hurry here right now." "Did something happen?" one of the masters asked in confusion. "Celsi is going to be interviewed here, only 5 minutes, you can come in again after 5 minutes, now please leave quickly," the staff said quickly. "Quickly." A worker hurriedly urged again. "Celsi's car is about to reach the door. He doesn't like the crowded place. If you see so many of you sitting here, you must not will be interviewed, don't be stunned, go out quickly." The staff was too anxious, so the tone and attitude were very bad. Although some masters were unhappy, they didn't want to worry about these people who arranged to do things, so they got up and took the students away. When they walked outside the hall, they saw a lot of reporters waiting behind the door. 3 black cars stopped outside the hall. After getting out of the bodyguards, they opened the door of the car in front and walked out of the car. Leaving a blonde, masked young man, he is the winner of last year and the year before, Celsi. The bodyguards pushed away the reporters and escorted Celsi to walk inside. A large group of people walked into the lounge where Meng Yang sat just now. It's such a big battle, Wu Feng said with a courteous lip, and he was still unhappy because he was just kicked out by those people with bad attitude. Who makes people the winners of last year and the year before, and the one most likely to take the first place this year? Meng Yang said with a smile. The rest of the lounge was occupied by people, and they were waiting in the lounge area of the lobby. After Celsi finished the interview and left, they were too lazy to change places. Only half an hour later, the staff took them to see the division. Their auditorium. After arriving at the audience seats arranged for them, the faces of several masters were even more displeased, because this year they had 3 students participating in the competition, but the position was even further back than last year. But there is no way to be unhappy. Last year, the students they participated in did not even enter the ranking. This year, all the students who participated this year were participating in the international competition for the first time, plus the change of organizer this year, so this is the case. Among the several masters, there should have been 6 qualification cards that could be judged by the audience, but when the staff gave them the audience evaluation cards, only 4 were given. The quota for this audience review was finally won by the school. Now it is inexplicably missing 2. Of course, it is necessary to ask clearly what is going on. And the staff member evaded vaguely, saying that he gave him the 4 concessions, and then said that he was busy and left in a hurry. This time, not only the faces of the masters are particularly ugly, but the students are also angry. Lin Songtai glanced at Meng Yang and wanted to say a few words to him, but he didn't want to put too much pressure on him. The words came to his mouth but he didn't say it, but Meng Yang already understood what he meant, so he must fight for this tone. Everyone went back to the room with a stomachache. It is said that there are international masters like Lin Songtai and Su Wangya, they should not be treated like this, but there is a big difference between the fragrant culture of Western countries and the fragrant culture of Eastern countries, so they are like Lin Songtai. Master's position in the Western incense academia is not as high as in the Oriental incense academia. The burning incense that has been handed down from ancient countries in the East has almost no market in the West. They only like perfumes, fragrances, and essential oils. The perfume manufacturing industry in the Western countries is very developed, and the internationally renowned perfume brands in the East are very less. Another point is that the fragrance culture in Eastern countries is almost something that only rich people can touch. It is not as simple as the perfume to understand, and it is not as convenient as the perfume to use, so it is far less common than perfume. Perfume also has a very large market in Eastern countries, because everyone can use perfume regardless of whether they understand perfume or not, and at any price, it can be said that everyone can afford it, not like Xiangdao. If you do something bad, you will be criticized and blamed. And they came to participate in the Western International Youth Perfume Contest, which is to mix perfume. Masters such as Lin Songtai and Su Wangya must be much higher than Braley on the study of Xiangxue, but Braley is one of the main judges of this international competition, and these 2 masters, it can only be the audience review, although the qualification of the audience review is also very difficult to obtain. Although Meng Yang had long known that their Orientals had no place in the Western perfume industry, they did not know that it was so low. But looking at the expressions of several masters, they should have changed the organizer this year, so they were especially despised. This should not be the case in previous years. Originally, I should have received 6 qualification cards for judging by the audience, but actually got only 4. Where did the other 2 go? Meng Yang saw from the look of the staff who sent the qualification card that he must have been sold to that person, otherwise his look would not be like that, and he hurriedly left. Meng Yang originally wanted to take part in the competition easily, but now he is also breathless, determined to be beautiful to win. The next day, before the game started, Luo Xiu sent Meng Yang outside the contestants' lounge. Don't be nervous, don't have psychological pressure, it will be good to play normally. I believe in your strength. Luo Xiu seriously kissed Meng Yang's forehead. This is a blessing kiss. Ha! Meng Yang nodded with a smile. Luo Xiu wanted to let Meng Yang in, but looking at Meng Yang's face, he couldn't help but lifted his chin and kissed his lips. Wu Feng and Yu Junchen, who were waiting behind, saw this scene and turned their heads to look elsewhere. Wu Feng was embarrassed to look at it, but Yu Junchen's emotions were more complicated, because so far, he already knew exactly how much Luo Xiu loved Meng Yang, but he did not expect that Luo Xiu really loved Meng Yang and loved it so deeply. Meng Yang responded to Luo Xiu's kiss with his eyes closed. The two separated after a short kiss, and Meng Yang's lips looked more ruddy. I went in. Meng Yang said. Go. Luo Xiu looked at him and said. Meng Yang turned and walked into the lounge with Wu Feng, and Yu Junchen also walked in with them behind them. In the lounge, separated by a glass wall into two spaces, inside the glass wall, Celsi rested on an oversized leather sofa and stood outside with a few bodyguards. Only Celsi is inside, the other contestants are waiting outside. Meng Yang and Wu Feng looked at each other and then found a place to sit down. After sitting down, Meng Yang whispered to Wu Feng, and suddenly felt that someone was looking at him, looking in the direction of his sight, and he only saw Celsi, who was keeping his eyes closed. Meng Yang is a person who has lived for more than 10 years with his sense of smell and feeling, so he knows that he must not feel wrong. Although Celsi closed his eyes now, he must have been watching him just now. The author has something to say. Thank you for the little angel who voted for me or irrigated nutrient solution. Thank you for the little angel who dropped grenade. One concubine, thank you for the little angels who cast mines. Gerald, Young Shuji, Yvette, Big Cherries, Joanna __ Kane, I heard I am cool, more or less, I do and have meow, Gmail 1, thanks to the little angel who irrigated, nutrient solution. 85 bottles from Merlin, 77 bottles from 2 packs of spicy sticks, 75 bottles from Gerard, 50 bottles from Small Boats, 40 bottles from Chi Yu without clothes, 30 bottles of fish and cherry blossoms with no money to dye, 25 bottles of rain, Yaoi, 20 bottles of ink, Xiaoxi, 16 bottles, Ucape to point 11 bottles, Rathcesia 93, Hairball, Cute, First Warbler, Yuki, 34109185, By the Imperial Wind, Little Luck, Children, Moshanghua blooming as the King Gu, Year After Year, Altar, 10 bottles, Drunk. Plume Falling 9 bottles, Chasing Girl 8 bottles, Jingyan 7 bottles, Email Protected, $8, Qianyuling, Whispering Dreams, Shi, Jiju, Yechen 5 bottles, Patch Sprite, Yiling Shue 4 bottles, Panda, Pepe 3 bottles, Lying, Xing 2 bottles of Dust, First Heart, Flying Girl Pig, Navy Blue Wolf, Bookworm Insect, It Would Be Nice If It Could, Meow Star, Blooming Pinelia, Aruashi, Kid, Scorpio de Dewanzi, Qin Jichuan, Zayuyu, Bay Month, 0987, 1 bottle of Fallen Leaves in Late Autumn. Thank you very much for your support, I will continue to work hard. Chapter 36 You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Second. Hand married wife of a wealthy old man 36 When the time for the game is up, the organizer will open the door to the competition area, first invite Celsi to enter, and then let other participants enter the passage. The organizer is so pleased with Celsi, of course it is impossible just because he was the first in last year and the year before. Another reason is that the perfume that Celsi formulated had the highest sales last year, and the organizer having a relationship with Celsi's company naturally requires special treatment of this genius who can make them rich. The competition area and the audience area are separated by glass. The olfactory sense of the contestants is very sensitive. If they are not separated, too many people will affect the performance of the contestants. In fact, this kind of perfume competition is not ornamental at all, but there are still nearly 1,000 viewers from all over the world to watch, and almost all are rich people. Because most of the participants are already well known in their own countries, these audiences are either here to support the participants, or they are extreme enthusiasts of perfumes and want to witness this year's Youth the Champion. Many of them are fans of Celsi. In the competition area, there are more than a dozen trapezoidal display stands. There are dozens of bottles of 20 or 30 kinds of extracted single fragrance perfume. Each participant, from these brown bottles, choose 10 to 5 different fragrances were then deployed on site. After the deployment, the main judges were scored first, the top 10 scores, and then used to vote for 100 audiences from around the world. The president of the International Fragrance Association announced that the theme of this year's competition was Dream. After the announcement of the competition, the contestants immediately walked to the brown glass bottles and opened the caps one by one to choose the fragrance they needed. So what is the significance of such a game? Mainly around the world, so-called perfume geniuses are constantly appearing, and whether these geniuses are worthy of the name has caused people to argue, so they simply bring together the young people with the title of geniuses, and limit these fragrances to match the theme of the scene, make deployments, and then compare them. Who is the genius in the genius? Among these brown bottles, although there is a scented liquid extracted from the same plant, the quality of the same plant is not necessarily different, so this is to test the olfactory sensitivity and smell quotient of the contestants, as well as the raw materials learned degree. After choosing the scent you want, you can get it on the countertop with a lot of utensils. This is the time to really test the talents of the participants. Only the order in which the liquids with different aromas are mixed together is different, and the proportions are different. The final product will be very different. Some people take the test tube and dropper carefully to confirm the proportion, and carefully pour these liquids into the measuring cup in the order of their hearts. After gently stirring with the stirring rod, fan the air by hand to confirm the smell. If you do and think you want it, the desired aroma will be restarted. In short, you can make as many times as you like within the prescribed time. Meng Yang spent most of his time choosing perfumes with a single fragrance, because there are so many bottles, and it takes time to open them one by one. After the selection, he covered the black cloth above the table because the contestants' recipes could not be seen. Then he used neither a test tube nor a dropper, completely poured the single scented perfume he wanted into the measuring cup, and every time he added the same, he would close his eyes and listen carefully. Only the main judges were sitting inside the glass wall. Braley had been asked to think behind closed doors by his father in the past 2 days. Today, he came to be a judge, so he was able to go out. He was almost 30, and he was actually banned. I think it's ridiculous to think about it. His eyes only looked at Meng Yang alone, and the love in his heart could not be suppressed. The thing that annoys him most is why he failed to meet Meng Yang earlier, but after he was married and in love with his husband only then did he meet him. Why should fate tease him so much? Celsi looked up at Braley, then turned to Braley's line of sight and looked at Meng Yang. He didn't know what he was thinking and paused, then lowered his head and began to concentrate. Perfume. Meng Yang put his prepared perfume into a clean dark brown small bottle, write his name and number on the label and paste it on the bottle, and then put an unwritten label on the label. Before the label is torn off, I can't see who the perfume is. Meng Yang sent his perfume bottle to the round display stand and then walked into the lounge. After the other contestants put their perfume bottles one after another, they walked into the lounge and waited for the result. When the time is up, the staff messes up all the perfume bottles again, and then writes the number on the label of the blank table, and then sends the bottle to the main judge to let them give each score. This is a time-consuming process, and everyone is nervously waiting for the result. After the main reviewer scored almost every bottle of perfume, the audience reviewer also left the seat to prepare. The staff puts the perfume with the top 10 points given by the main reviewer into 10 small rooms arranged in a circle. The audience reviewer can enter each small room twice. After entering the room and smelling the perfume, you can write down your inner feelings and scores on the book outside before entering the next room. While the audience reviewer was voting, the main reviewer also discussed while waiting. This year is really a genius harvest. In addition to the outstanding third perfume, there are also a few bottles of similar quality. I was really distressed and hesitant when I gave the points. Which contestant is the third perfume? I am really too curious. The first place this year must be him. Who the will it be? I want to know quickly. Although I won the first place in the international youth competition every year, they all sell very well, but this number 3 perfume will definitely have explosive sales, and it will definitely be one of the consumers who buy. I think the number 3 perfume should be Celsi. Apart from him, who can have such a high talent, with a limited fragrance, blending such a dreamy perfume, it seems that this time he has a new breakthrough. Speaking of dreams, this number 3 perfume is also fully in line with the theme. Braley, what do you think? My feeling is that perfume number 3 is the best. It's just who is the blender of perfume number 3. It's not easy to say. Braley said with a smile. Don't you have confidence in Celsi? The female judge teased with a smile. The other judges also laughed, because Braley had a gossip with Celsi. Although Braley had always denied it, some people still like to use Celsi to tease him. There was a little confusion on the side of the audience review. The original 100 audience reviewers had to take turns to enter the small room, but the people who entered the perfume room number 3 always had to be urged by the staff. Willing to come out, and in the second round, when I only entered the room I wanted to enter, most people waited outside the room of perfume number 3, the people inside did not come out, and the people outside could not enter. The organizer had to find more staff evacuated the crowd, and then stipulated how long it must be out after entering, letting 4 or 5 people go in together. After intense waiting time, the glass wall between the competition area and the auditorium was raised, and the host came on stage to announce that he got the first perfume. This year's champion perfume is number 3 perfume. Both our main reviewer and audience reviewer are very fond of number 3 perfume, so number 3 perfume has obtained overwhelming scores and votes. The host said. Then, before the announcement of the perfumer of number 3 perfume, please let the main judges evaluate this year's champion perfume. The perfume number 3 gives me the feeling that it is very beautiful. The softness of the flowers makes me feel very comfortable. The fruity fragrance seems to be just right. It makes people involuntarily want to explore deeper. It really looks like a wonderful dream. I gave number 3 water a high score because I think number 3 perfume has no boundaries. No matter men, women, children, you can feel a good fragrance. This is the most successful place for this contestant. No matter who he is, I must admit that he is really a genius. I think Linda is right. Number 3 has no boundaries, because its aroma is not too sweet, nor too thin. The perfect floral and fruity aromas make people feel very comfortable. Clean and pure fragrance, I can't feel any, it is very comfortable and relaxing, and I can't help but want to be close, so I give it the highest score and predict that it will sell well. And got a high rating. This is an uncontroversial fragrance because it is not deliberate and very natural. It does not seem to be a blended fragrance, but it exists naturally, so it makes people feel very comfortable. To be able to get such a high evaluation from the main reviewers, I think everyone can't wait to know who its creator is. Celsi. 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 In the audience, Celsi fans called his name neatly. It seems that everyone still thinks that this year is still Celsi can win the championship. After all, before the start of this year's competition, he has prepared a dozen kinds of award-winning perfumes. The host said. So now, please keep quiet, and then look at the big screen, I will start to announce. The auditorium quieted down immediately, and everyone looked at the big screen seriously. The host picked up the perfume, aimed at the camera lens in front of the table, and then slowly tore off the label. First place. It's our Meng Yang. The host's voice became smaller from high to low. He thought if he had made a mistake. After confirming it, the host suppressed his heart. Shocked, quickly announced again. The number 3 perfumer who won the first place is the participant Meng Yang. This is a completely unexpected black horse, and another real genius was born in the Western International Youth Competition. Now, he will be attracting attention from the world. The host said excitingly, but the people in the audience hadn't reacted yet. The fans of Celsi were even more incredible. Someone even compared Celsi. The contestants standing on the side of the stage, after seeing this scene, also had different looks, and most of them were surprised. Wu Feng grabbed Meng Yang's hand excitedly and lowered his voice very hard, saying, "You are the first. You are the first. Meng Yang. Great, great. You are the first international in the West, the Oriental, who won the first place in the youth perfume contest. Too meaningful, so valuable." Yu Junchen had expected that he could never be the first, but when he saw that the first was Meng Yang, he still had the urge to cry. He used to think that he must be inferior to Celsi when it comes to the talent of fragrance, but now he feels that Meng Yang can do it, and he can certainly do it. If he can get the books uploaded by Meng Zuzu, he certainly can get the first, even better. However, most of the books of the Meng family's ancestral books teach aromatherapy. Although they also teach perfumes, they did not record many perfume formulas. In this competition, Meng Yang completely used his own inspiration to formulate perfumes. Under the greeting of the host, Meng Yang took the stage to receive the award. Meng Yang was very happy, but he was not particularly excited because it was just a start for him, and he still had a long way to go. Celsi looked at Meng Yang. Although he was able to maintain calm on the surface, he was also very shocked. Because he had read Meng Yang's information before the game. The fragrance that needs to be burned is very powerful, so he won the first place in their country, but in the information about Meng Yang, he has never prepared a very good perfume, not once. Lao Lin, we have waited for so many years, insisting on participating every year, being laughed at every year, and finally waiting until this day. Yes, our plans and goals are finally hopeful. He is really a genius among geniuses, and it will depend on him to let more people understand Oriental fragrance in the future. In the Western academic world, we finally made a breath. The masters were very excited. Although Lin Songtai didn't say a word, the inner excitement and comfort was only more than others, not less than others. Su Wanya's mood is particularly complicated. In terms of the overall situation, people in their country have won the first place. But the person who won the first place was Meng Yang. He felt that this was the beginning of Lin Songtai's crushing his head everywhere. Luo Xiu sat in the front seat of the audience, smiling and watching Meng Yang receiving the award. He was proud of Meng Yang. The level of joy in his heart was stronger than any of his successes. It is the source of his happiness. As long as he can see Meng Yang smile, he feels very happy. Seeing Meng Yang's success is even more happy than when he succeeded. The author has something to say. Thank you for the little angel who voted for me, or irrigated nutrient solution. Thank you for the little angel who cast rocket cannon. Yunghua right and wrong. Thank you for the little angels who cast land mine. Blue child paper, a mad ghost, and one cherry blossom flutter. Thanks to the little angel who irrigated nutrient solution. 31 bottles of Huiqing, 10 bottles of small broken cups, Fan Lang, and Mingyue, 2 3 4 2 5 1 8 7 8 bottles of baby called Ji, 5 bottles of Huadang, Shangzi, Luyun, Yema Lingxian, 2 bottles of Chuxin, Yu, Yan Iyer, and Itakshu. Thank you very much for your support. I will continue to work hard. Chapter 37. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Rich men's second married couple 37. After the awards were presented, the host announced the ranking of the top 10, and then the audience left, and the reporter interviewed the top 3. The most frequently asked question by reporters was to ask Meng Yang the feeling of winning the prize in a different way, and Celsi failed to get the first feeling. Both answers are very official, and the water is not leaking, so these savvy reporters cannot ask what is the most powerful content. The most pitiful is the third place. He participated in the international youth competition in the last year of this year, and he has been allowed to get a third place for so many years, but there is no sense of existence at all, and he is accidentally ignored by everyone. After the interview time, they returned to the lounge, preparing to leave the aisle. Breely was already waiting for the break. He looked at Meng Yang, who came and said, "Congratulations." "Thank you." Meng Yang thanked calmly and walked out of the lounge. Luo Xiao was waiting for him outside the lounge. As soon as Meng Yang came out, Luo Xiao hugged him and walked out. Under the of the bodyguard, Luo Xiao walked out of the hall with arms around Meng Yang, and there were already a lot of reporters waiting outside. There were too many reporters during the interview just now. It is good for one person to ask one or two questions. They still have a lot. The question wants to be answered by Meng Yang personally, and he is even struggling to get the opportunity for a separate interview. After all, he is the first Oriental to get the first place in the Western International Youth Fragrance Contest. The current situation is completely different from yesterday's situation. Yesterday, there was no reporter who wanted to interview Meng Yang, an entrant who had never heard of his name, but today the reporters are about to break their heads in order to grab the exclusive. After getting on the bus, Meng Yang plunged into Luo Xiao's arms, looked at him happily and asked, "I got the first place, is there a reward?" "What reward do you want?" Luo Xiao stroked his face and asked. All eyes were spoiled. He was very proud of Meng Yang. "Anything?" Meng Yang asked. "Anything is possible." Luo Xiao now has nothing to promise Meng Yang. He is willing to give him his own life, not to mention other things. "I haven't thought about it yet. I'll tell you after I think about it. I'm going to accumulate my wishes slowly, so you have to listen to me in the future." Meng Yang said, completely unreasonable, but with it is also a kind of happiness for a loved one to be unreasonable. "Okay." Luo Xiao immediately agreed, and then kissed his soft lips. There are too many reporters who want to interview Meng Yang alone, but Meng Yang all refused, so the reporters can only use their imagination, that is, all rely on speculation. So there were some rumors that Meng Yang had no reputation before. Even when he first participated in an international competition, he directly won the first place. It is likely that his country secretly trained him for many years, and he has not participated in any competition before. Don't let him expose in advance, fortunately shocked the Western perfume industry in the Western International Youth Competition. These rumors are justified and justified. Even after reading the report, Meng Yang's brethren almost believed it. They felt that Meng Yang might have been a secretly trained person in his country's fragrance academy. Specifically to shock Western countries. After the news was sent back to China, the fragrance industry in China also became lively. This time, Meng Yang's fame spread at least completely in the fragrance industry in China. The masters rest in the villa, while Meng Yang and they play in the pool. This hotel has a large number of masks, so there are many large and small swimming pools, which area can only enter the pool area of that area. There are not too many people in this area, and not everyone will come to the pool, so Meng Yang, they can play happily. Luo Xiao sat on the beach chair, and Meng Yang took sunscreen to help him wipe. Luo Xiao did not let him take off his shirt, helped him apply his arms, and directly reached into his clothes to apply for him. Obviously it was Meng Yang's own request, but Luo Xiao's actions made him a little embarrassed. He blushed and urged. "Come on, you don't have to be so serious in painting, so many people see how bad it is. Then let them look good, what are you afraid of?" Luo Xiao helped him to smear the front, and he took him into his arms and smeared the back seriously. Meng Yang was lying in Luo Xiao's arms, holding his shoulders with both hands, biting his lips to feel Luo Xiao's wide and slightly rough palms, walking on the skin of his back, and then turned red and red. After Luo Xiao finally wanted to let him go, Meng Yang quickly got up and trot quickly and then jumped into the pool to calm down his already hot body. Luo Xiao sat on the recliner, watching Meng Yang and his brothers playing water volleyball, and seeing how Meng Yang smiled happily, Luo Xiao had a feeling of contentment. Suddenly a figure stopped next to him, he turned his head and glanced, and continued to look at Meng Yang in the pool. I always thought that Luo Dong was a very sensible person. Bray Lei also looked at the pool in front of him and said. Unexpectedly, there is such an irrational side. Different angles lead to different conclusions about one thing. Luo Xiao replied. You think the decision I made is irrational, but I think it is a very sensible decision for me. The cooperation with my father's company is suspended. Your company must also bear certain losses. I think Dong Luo should not bring his personal feelings to work. Meng Yang has been attracting attention from the world and will fall in love with him more in the future. If Luo Dong started this privately offending business, he will definitely not be able to take it in the future, so your company will also go to a precarious situation. When I want to change my previous decision, then I have to bear some losses, but in the longer term, I do think my decision is wrong. I think you should also be very clear in your heart, I am not only a choice. Cooperate with your father's company. Meng Yang has attracted worldwide attention, and I am happy to show him to people all over the world, but this does not mean that I have to endure your offensive actions and cannot make any counterattack. Luo Xiao said. Braley had always thought that he was very smart, and he wouldn't have anything unexpected than he expected, but he didn't expect Meng Yang's temper to be so irritable at first. Yang thinks so important. When submarine is used, Meng Yang must be picked up in advance. He did not expect Luo Xiao to suspend the cooperation with his father's company for a year because of this matter. Now his father asked him to apologize to Luo Xiao, and he had to follow suit. I apologize to Luo Dong for the offense in my behavior and promise that I will not make such a move in the future. I hope that Luo Dong can reconsider the cooperation with my father. You go back and tell your father that I will consider it carefully. Upon hearing this, Bray Lei knew that Luo Xiao was perfunctory, and he could only say, so, what if Luo Dong is willing to resume the cooperation with my father immediately? Something like emotions is sometimes difficult for people to control by themselves, so if you are asked not to like Meng Yang, this is definitely not realistic. But the behavior is controllable, so my request is that you will never be allowed to take the initiative again. Meng Yang is even more forbidden to make any move to pursue him. Blayley was silent. If he agreed with Luo Xiao's request, it would mean that he would not even have the opportunity to say the last word to Meng Yang. Meng Yang came out of the pool and ran to Luo Xiao. He naturally saw Bray Lei, but ignored him directly. He sat next to Luo Xiao and said, Uncle Luo, go swimming, they are better than me. Well, I didn't swim very well, you teach me. When Luo Jiao was about to get up, Bray Lei said. It's better to compare with Luo Dong. If Luo Xiao wins, I agree with Luo Dong's request. If I win, Luo Xiao immediately resumes with my father. Cooperation. What do you want to compare? Luo Xiao asked. I heard a friend say that Luo Dong is very good at swimming, so how is it better than swimming? Breely said. Wait for me to change my swimming trunks. Luo Xiao said. I'm going to change too. Blayley turned and left. You guys are better than swimming. Meng Yang looked at Luo Xiao excitedly and said, then I will cheer for you on the side. Good. Luo Xiao smiled and touched Meng Yang's hair, then turned and left. Meng Yang ran to tell his brothers and sisters that Luo Xiao and Bray Lei were going to swim in the competition and let him come out of the pool for a while. When Luo Xiao walked by wearing bath towels and swimming trunks, everyone sighed his figure in his heart. This muscle line, this proportion of the figure, is simply perfect. Wu Feng whispered to Meng Yang. The walking male hormone is talking about a person like Luo Dong. This figure, combined with this momentum, can be fatal. Ah! You need to be more careful not to be snatched away by other little coquettes. Not to mention that others saw Luo Xiao's body in blood, and even Meng Yang looked at Luo Xiao's swimming trunks and couldn't help but his heartbeat accelerated and his face turned red. He also shot him to death on the ground, absolutely no one would have an opportunity. After a while, Braley also walked in swimming trunks. Some girls and boys on the edge of the pool didn't know who to look at. They thought about what lucky day it is today, and there is a free God can be appreciated, and two at a time. Braley is not only a famous perfumer, he is also a supermodel, and he is 10 years younger than Luo Dong, but Luo Dong and Braley stand together, it is not inferior, I don't know who to watch all right. To tell me, it's still more attractive like Luo Dong. Although he is older, it will hurt people. Look how good Meng Yang is. Although Luo Dong looks very handsome, I still like a half-breed handsome guy like Braley, and he is an idol in the perfume world. I have worshipped him for a long time. I also think that Luo Dong is better. If Luo Dong also shoots an advertisement or something, it will certainly attract a large number of fans. I already have a poster for Braley. If there can be a poster for Luo Dong wearing swimming trunks or underwear, I must stick to another wall and watch it every day. After Luo Xiu and Braley warmed up, they stood by the pool and started to prepare for the game. Luo Xiu asked Meng Yang to start. Although Meng Yang felt that it didn't matter whether he won or lost, Luo Xiu was always the most handsome and attractive man in his heart, but before the call began, he couldn't help feeling a little nervous. He even played in the morning himself. There was no one who was nervous. Prepare. Meng Yang shouted loudly after a pause. Start. Luo Xiu and Braley jumped into the water at the same time. The movements of the two were very standard. They could hardly hear any sound of tapping the water. The movements did not look big, but the speed was very fast. Like a shark swinging, but moving fast in the water. Everyone stood on the edge of the pool and looked at it seriously, and couldn't help feeling excited and nervous. Meng Yang just thought about cheering Luo Xiu, but now he has nervously forgotten. Before the game started, the two of them had agreed a total of 3 rounds, the first and the second round, the speed of the two was about the same. During the 3 rounds, Luo Xiu started to speed up and pulled away the distance from Brian. Uncle Luo, come on. Come on. Meng Yang saw Luo Xiu leading, excited like a child, and finally called out. Luo Xiu led Braley by a distance of half a small pool, and first completed 3 round trips. Meng Yang was waiting at the finish line, and when Luo Xiu came up from the water, he hugged Luo Xiu happy and excited and said. Uncle Luo, you are too powerful. I know you will definitely win. Meng Yang stepped on Luo Xiu's face and kissed hard, laughing happily. Wu Feng stood next to him and couldn't help shaking his head. Although he also felt that Luo Xiu's speed was indeed quite powerful, but seeing Meng Yang's happy face, he felt that any advantages in the eyes of his lover would be magnified infinitely. Meng Yang was just as happy as Luo Xiu won the World Championship, he did not laugh so happy when he won the International Youth Championship. I lost. Braley walked to Luo Xiu and finished speaking. He glanced at Meng Yang and left. He didn't expect that he would lose to Luo Xiu, who was nearly 10 years old, but he wanted to gamble. To lose, what he does himself, the game he promises, must bear the consequences by himself. The author has something to say. Today is the Dragon Boat Festival, so busy that I almost forgot. I wish you all a happy Dragon Boat Festival. I haven't been able to eat rice dumplings this year. Today I am going to buy 2 salted egg yolks. Did everyone eat rice dumplings? Thank you for the little angel who voted for me or an irrigation nutrient solution. Thank you for the little angel who cast, land mine. One faraway galaxy, 187345551, Yi Xian, thanks to the little angel who irrigated, nutrient solution. 60 bottles with a chirp, 10 bottles with favorite little stars, 255026159 bottles, 5 cute bottles of sand sculpture netizens, 5 bottles of Xiao Xiao, Yema Ling Xian, ZH.min, Pinelia, at Honey Honey, 0987, Qing Feng Wei Lan 2 bottle, Yu, Moyu, Shallow, Sun Fusu, Ito Snow, Scorpio de Dewanzi, 1 bottle of fallen leaves in late autumn. Thank you very much for your support, I will continue to work hard. Chapter 38 You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Second. Hand married wife of a wealthy old man 38 Luo Xiu won the Breely swimming, and Meng Yang was more excited than he took the first place in his game. No matter how many people watched, he kissed Luo Xiu's face a few times. The onlookers are also discussing. Dong Luo actually won the distance of Blilai half a pool, is this physical strength and explosiveness too good? Dong Luo is nearly 10 years older than Breely. Not only is his body comparable to Breely, but his physical strength is even better than Breely. This is too strong. What time is it now, and how many years have you lived, what age should you be? I think the body age is the most important now. Someone used to say that life can't be as good as you want, but aren't people like Meng Yang doing well now? Go swimming. Luo Xiu asked, holding Meng Yang. Go, go. Meng Yang pulled Luo Xiu into the water. I don't know how to swim yet. If you teach me, I want to learn your way of playing hoop hoo hoo. After entering the water, Luo Xiu first taught from the swimming posture. After teaching the movement, he put his hand under Meng Yang's stomach and propped him up to start practicing. When Meng Yang practiced for a while, he held Luo Xiu to rest for a while. The two people's bodies were close to each other in the water. This kind of touch had a very different feeling. The two of them, no matter whether there was someone beside them, they kissed affectionately and almost showed blind eyes. After Meng Yang was tired of practicing, the two people left the pool and prepared to go back to the room. Meng Yang found that many people were peeking at Luo Xiu, so he wrapped his waist around with a towel, thinking that this was his, and no one would show it. After returning to the room, Meng Yang took off his wet clothes and put on a bath towel to prepare for a bath. Before entering the bathroom, he held Luo Xiu's waist. What's wrong? Luo Xiu looked at him and asked. Meng Yang was embarrassed to say that because he looked too in swimming trunks, he wanted to hug him. He suddenly turned around and said, wait for me, don't take it off. Meng Yang turned over to find his cell phone and started taking pictures in front of Luo Xiu. While shooting, he said like a photographer. Turn over a little bit, here, and behind. Meng Yang took a picture of Luo Xiu's swimming trunks, ready to be used as a mobile phone wallpaper. Luo Xiu's male model has the same figure, and casually took a few photos, just like the print advertisement of swimming trunks. Is the picture ready? Luo Xiu asked. Okay, wait for me to choose the one I like best, which one is better? Meng Yang looked at these photos in distress. Choose after bathing. Luo Xiu brought Meng Yang's cell phone over the bed and threw it into the bathroom. After the door in the bathroom was closed, the sound of running water rang for a while, and there was a faint scream from small to large, and there was a sound similar to tapping. Meng Yang was lying on the bed, feeling that he had no energy at all, so he just wanted to sleep well. Luo Xiu lay on his back and kissed his face carefully. Uncle Luo, I want to sleep. Meng Yang said feebly. Aren't you trying to make me work hard until you are pregnant with your child? Luo Xiu said. That also needs a rest, and I. Meng Yang wanted to say, and I don't have the physical strength that you have, but he was asleep before the words were finished. Luo Xiu kissed Meng Yang's face and slept with him. The two of them slept until it was dark before getting up to prepare for the evening banquet. Meng Yang told Luo Xiu about the unfair treatment they encountered yesterday. Luo Xiu frowned, and then called his friend. Half an hour later, the person in charge of hosting the competition brought people to apologize to Lin Songtai. It's only because our management is not in place that such a situation occurs. On behalf of the organizer, I apologize to you. The person in charge said sincerely. The staff member who sold your audience review qualifications privately, we have also made severe punishment, and those who purchased the qualification certificate for audience review from him. We have also reported it to the International Perfume Association, and blacklisted them, and can no longer become the audience review. Lin Songtai glanced at several masters, and when they saw their attitude was sincere, they accepted their apology. However, Lin Songtai knew very well that these people could not apologize completely because Meng Yang took first place. The main reason is that Luo Xiu did something. They have always heard that Luo Xiu has actively worked to expand the industries in Western countries over the years and already has his own power. Now it seems that this rumor is indeed true. The person in charge gave some gifts specially prepared for the VIPs, and after apologizing again, he took the people away. Grandpa Lin wash and change clothes, ready to go to the banquet. They are judges as an audience, they have received banquet invitations before coming. Meng Yang walked into the banquet hall with Luo Xiu's hand and just entered. Some people who were waiting for them came to talk, some of whom Luo Xiu knew, and some people who wanted to know him, because I have also received information that Luo Xiu has suspended cooperation with Braylei's father's company, so these people expressed their willingness to cooperate with him. Another reason is that the fragrances that Meng Yang has mixed in the competition, they have already found a relationship to taste them. When they come back from a wonderful dream, they seem to see a lot of banknotes are falling from the sky. The sales of this perfume will be very good. They know that he will definitely not sell the formula, but it is also good to have a joint launch. Those who want to cooperate with Luo Xiu and those who want to company brand with Meng Yang's perfumes are looking for opportunities to see the stitches and want to say a few words to the two. Brayley looked at him from afar, and began to regret that his previous behavior was too rash. He thought that the two were not married after they were in love, and he was too confident in his charm. He thought it was a harmless thing. It will become like this now. Early the next morning, they returned to China by plane. After returning to China, there were various interviews and banquets, as well as school celebrations. Luo Xiu arranged 2 assistants for Meng Yang to arrange these things specifically for him. The interview could not be totally unacceptable, nor could the banquet not go away. Those who could be pushed off were pushed away. Important banquets should at least show their faces. Meng Yang still spends most of his time researching the content of aromatherapy. It is not difficult for him to formulate perfumes, but aromatherapy is difficult to master. It takes time and effort to study carefully. Luo Xiu finally started cooperation with Braylei's father again, because Braylei's father found someone who helped them before, that is, Luo Xiu's friend. Luo Xiu's friend asked Luo Xiu to give him a face, both sides sit down and have a good talk. Braylei's father was willing to make some concessions in his interests. Brayley also assured Luo Xiu that he would never make Meng Yang dislike Luo Xiu and Meng Yang anymore. In order to give friends a face, Luo Xiu agreed. After returning to China, Meng Yang's assistant gave Meng Yang the aromatherapy therapist's license that he just got. Meng Yang was relying on this thing before going abroad. He took the exam 3 times in total. The first 2 licenses are required to pass the first 2 licenses before the first license can be tested. With the license of an aromatherapist, Meng Yang can give others aromatherapy, otherwise it is equivalent to practicing medicine illegally. And he is so anxious to get a grade A aromatherapy license, so that Sooty can wake up as soon as possible. Is aromatherapy? Xiao Ku said. In fact, I have tried this method. It should be said that I have tried all possible methods, but it doesn't work, he just doesn't want to wake up. Although I dare not say that my aromatherapy can be 100% useful, it can be said that it is very likely to wake him up. This is my ancestral formula. I have studied it for a long time according to Sooty's situation. And I can guarantee it to you. Yes, even if there is no effect, there will definitely be no problem. Meng Yang said. Since you have tried many ways, then this is not the case. Try it for a month. Let us look at the effect after a month. Say more. Xiao Ku thought about it carefully and agreed, because he heard a lot about Meng Yang recently. Everyone is saying that Meng Yang is a genius among geniuses, and he can even take it every month at Xingyuan College. When he came to the first place, he was also a student of Master Lin Songtai. Maybe he could really help Su Di to wake up. In short, it is not impossible to try it. After Xiao Ke signed the non-responsibility agreement from the hospital, Meng Yang took people to the hospital to prepare Sudi for the first aromatherapy. Just as Meng Yang was about to guide them to start, a group of doctors suddenly came in. Our deputy director personally led people to patrol the room today. I heard that patients in this ward are going to undergo aromatherapy, so come and see. A doctor explained to Xiao Ku. Vice President Wu looked at all the people in the ward, and then asked, "Have you invited the aromatherapist yet?" "I am." Meng Yang replied. "You." Vice Dean Wu looked at Meng Yang up and down, and immediately frowned and asked, "Do you have an aromatherapy license?" Meng Yang signaled his assistant to show him his license. After seeing the license of Meng Yang's aromatherapist, Vice President Wu didn't frown, but said more unpleasantly. "You are not a license certified by the aromatherapy branch. It is indeed not a license that the fragrance therapy branch has taken seriously, but it is also a legal aromatherapy license issued by a state agency," Meng Yang said. "People who are certified by aromatherapy clubs will have higher gold content. Now many doctors and rich people only recognize aromatherapy licenses certified by aromatherapy clubs, but they are not certified by aromatherapy clubs. The license is also a legal license issued by a state agency through a strict examination. You look like a student. You have only been studying aromatherapy for a few years, so you dare to give aromatherapy to unconscious patients in the hospital." No deputy dean asked, "Which school are you from?" L.RG, St. Yashian College. Meng Yang replied. "I think I am a famous school student, so I am so brave." "What grade are you in now? Are you responsible for something?" Dean Xiao Kewu's tone is getting worse and worse, and immediately said. "I have signed the consent form. In short, you are not responsible for your hospital. Young man, I kindly remind you that there is no aromatherapy license certified by the aromatherapy branch, which is no different from waste paper. There is a lot of waste aromatherapists holding such licenses outside, and you seem to be out of luck." "Great, caught a newcomer waste." No vice president said mercilessly. Earlier, he questioned and said those words. Meng Yang listened calmly in his heart, and felt that this was his sense of responsibility as a doctor and deputy dean, but the last paragraph really made Meng Yang angry. If you feel that all the licenses that have not been certified by the Fragrance Therapy Club are a piece of waste paper, then you should ask the country to take all the license examinations that are certified by the Fragrance Therapy Club. I have the license for a Class A aromatherapy therapist was obtained after I passed a very rigorous examination. From a legal point of view, it is not illegal for me to perform aromatherapy for anyone. Only people in the treatment club can get the certification from the aromatherapy club. There are many more powerful therapists who cannot join the aromatherapy club for various reasons. Why do you say that the license that is not certified by the aromatherapy club is waste paper? Is it more authoritative than the country? Because obviously these people do not include you." No deputy dean also looked at Meng Yang and said. "Master Meng Yang, let me talk to him." The assistant stepped forward and said, "Is Vice President Wu? Can we go out and talk?" Meng Yang rolled his eyes when he looked at the assistant and the deputy director Wu and other doctors leaving the ward. Everyone knew that aromatherapy was a very conservative and safe treatment method. Will this Vice Director Wu know? He is just like some people who only recognize the certified license of the aromatherapy club, and look down on the license that has not been certified by the aromatherapy club. But in fact, there are a lot of aromatherapists who are certified because they spend a long time in the aromatherapy branch. The author has something to say. Thank you for the little angel who voted for me or irrigated nutrient solution. Thank you for the little angel who cast Grenade. One winding path thanks to the little angel who irrigated, nutrient solution. Enthusiastic netizens love to learn and eat 10 bottles of pomegranate, 3 bottles of Ayin, 2 bottles of Yemo Ling Xian, Linda and Zuotangtang, 1 bottle of White Jade Flawless. Thank you very much for your support, I will continue to work hard. Chapter 39 You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Second. Hand married wives of wealthy old men. 39 Meng Yang arranged for people to use fumigation, medicinal bath, acupuncture and moxibustion, all for Sooty, and ignited the medicinal incense on his bedside every night, and waited for a month to see the effect. Meng Yang spent only a few days at home before going abroad. Regarding the sales of his award-winning perfume, although he does not need him to do everything himself, there are some things that still need him to be present. After choosing which one of the company-branded brands, Luo Xiu asked him to screen him, he finally asked him to make his own decision. Because Meng Yang's own company only has such a small reputation in China, if you want to improve the grade, the best way is to company brand with big brands. The annual Youth Championship champion perfume is allowed to use the crown mark designed by the International Perfume Association on the perfume bottle. Now many people like to collect the crown perfume bottle every year. The champion perfume will also be sold every year. Perfume companies want to have a crown mark on their own brands, and also hope to make a lot of money with this popularity, so there are many big name perfume companies that want to be company branded. Meng Yang looked at the companies that had already been screened, and suddenly stopped and asked, Wen Qiu. Isn't this Celsi's personal brand? Celsi's company and he both have the intention to cooperate with each other, and the conditions they give are also very sincere. Celsi also said that if you want, he would like to talk to you in person. Talk. The assistant said. Meng Yang turned his head to look at Luo Xiu, who was standing by the floor-to-ceiling window and called, then he thought for a while. When Luo Xiu came to the end, Meng Yang said to him. Celsi wants to cooperate with me. Do you have any other purpose? I have heard that he has had scandals with Braley. Did you know that Braley likes me? I already know this matter. I think he really wants to work with you, and the biggest boss of their company has a good relationship with me, so it is a good choice to work with their company. Even if he hides enough it's really ulterior motives, and I am sure I won't let him succeed. If you are not at ease, you can meet him and chat with him to try him out. Luo Xiu kissed him and said, I am going to the company, if you want to meet Celsi, let them arrange. After Meng Yang sent Luo Xiu out of the house, he seriously considered it and finally decided to meet with Celsi. After the assistant made an appointment, Meng Yang went out for an appointment under the bodyguard. Celsi arrived a little earlier than Meng Yang, but he didn't seem to be in good spirits. You look not very good, are you uncomfortable? Meng Yang thought, could he talk about things like this? I didn't expect that you would meet me today. I drank too much with my friends last night and didn't sleep all night. Celsi rubbed his face with both hands and said, it's rude to meet you in this state, I'm very sorry. It's okay, I said suddenly that I would meet without saying hello in advance. Meng Yang said. It's better to go back to rest first, let's talk about it tomorrow. I often get drunk, and the hangover can still talk about things. The young sunshine is just human. In fact, I started drinking too early, but you don't have to think that I have encountered something unfortunate. This is the way I grew up. Without suffering, my parents love me very much, I just love to drink, and then there will be a lot of inspiration after getting drunk. Celsi said. And I can't wait to tell you about my idea. Meng Yang thought this person was quite interesting and smiled and said, you talk about it. Then Celsi told Meng Yang his thoughts, and Celsi said he liked the perfume Meng Yang blended, and got an inspiration from the perfume he blended, that is, if the two of them collaborated, the Western romantic art if it is matched with the healing beauty of the East, it will definitely be very popular, and it may get an unprecedented height in the future. Meng Yang listened very seriously, and Celsie's descriptions and assumptions made him very moved. What do you think? Celsi asked, looking at Meng Yang with expectant eyes. I have to admit that your idea is very attractive to me, and there are even ideas that I want to realize as soon as possible. Meng Yang looked at him and said, but there is one thing that still makes me worry. Are you talking about Blayley? Celsi asked directly. I know you like him, and you should also know that he likes me, if our cooperation starts and there are conflicts because of his affairs. Sure enough, it's a very oriental idea. Celsi smiled and said. Brayley is not the first man I like, nor will it be the last. I like him now, does not mean that I will always like him. In my life, nothing is more important than perfume. Things that do stupid behavior for someone who doesn't like themselves will never happen to me. Celsi shrugged and said, how many men are there? Why should I live with a man for money? Besides, I haven't broken off men now. I need to enjoy life to get more inspiration. Brayley is just one of my many inspirations that I haven't gotten. It's because you got married at such a young age, which makes me feel a little puzzled. There are so many interesting things in this world, why use marriage so early? What about binding yourself? I can't tell you why, and I can't describe my thoughts with you. Maybe one day, when you meet someone who can make you painful and not afraid to live, happy or not to die, you will understand how I feel now. Then I hope that I will never meet such a person. I want to enjoy it all my life. I have always liked the life of one person. I can't imagine it. The two chatted for a long time before they separated, and agreed to formally discuss the matter of cooperation tomorrow. Meng Yang also understood why Luo Xiu assured himself to cooperate with Celsi. He felt his love for perfume and crazy, and although the two people have different ideas, they are very surprised to talk. As for the fragrance, Meng Yang has a feeling of meeting his confidant. After talking about the parts that required him to be the master, Meng Yang left several perfume recipes and hurried back to China. Less than a month after the aromatherapy treatment for Sooty, about half a month, Sooty's fingers began to move. When Xiao Ku saw it, he immediately ran to the doctor. Because he was too excited, he ran to the door and stumbled, completely forgetting that as long as he pressed the emergency bell on the bedside, the doctor would come. After seeing it, the doctor was surprised to find that Sooty did show signs of awakening. 2 days later, Meng Yang finally freed up time to visit Sooty, who had fully awakened. Xiao Ku saw Meng Yang coming in and immediately got up to give him a seat. Meng Yang sat down on the sofa beside the bed, looking at his pale and weak face. Sooty asked, how do you feel? Sooty said slowly, I had a very long dream, and the dream was dark. There was nothing but myself. I searched for a long time in the dark, but I couldn't find the exit. I felt tired. I want to give up, and then a light appears. The smoke is smoky in the light column, with a good smell of medicine. I smell it, I suddenly feel that I have strength again, and then under the guidance of the light column, I finally found the exit, being able to escape from the darkness. I feel great. Thank you. Sooty looked at Meng Yang and said gratefully, I don't know how to repay you. If there is anything I can do, please tell me. No need to repay me, Xiao Ku will repay you for me. Meng Yang said with a smile, then looked at Xiao Ku and said. Is it, Xiao Ku? Yes. Xiao Ku squatted down the other side of the bed, holding Sooty's hand and said, you don't have to worry, I will definitely repay him for you. Sooty looked at Xiao Ku and smiled at him with tears. You just woke up and you need a good rest and conditioning. Don't think about other things for now, just raise your body and talk. Meng Yang got up and said, you rest, I won't disturb you, see you later. I send you. Xiao Ku stood up and said. After the two walked into the corridor outside, Xiao Ku asked, how can I repay you? I don't need you to do it now. Meng Yang said while walking forward. If you really want to repay me, end your rebellious period as soon as possible to do what you should do, etc. After you have the ability, come and ask me again, how can I repay me? Xiao Ke froze for Meng Yang's words. For yourself, and for Sudi, you should be mature too. Spending your money at home, and then dissatisfied with the discipline of the family, specializing in dealing with your parents, I am the one who looks down on the most. I stepped down and turned my head to look at him and said, if my mother is alive like you, my father is old-fashioned and stern, but he is really good for me. Come back and regret what you have done now. Xiao Ke stood in the corridor of the hospital, thinking seriously about what Meng Yang said. Student Meng Yang, please wait. The two doctors walked quickly to Meng Yang. Meng Yang stood in front of the elevator and turned to look at them. We are going to write a report about Sudi's treatment. Could you please help us write a copy about the detailed process of his aromatherapy? The doctor asked. I will ask my assistant to give you an overview of the process. Meng Yang said. If you can you please give me the detailed content? Of course, I am not referring to your recipe, but the specific process and method, so that we can record and refer. Sorry, I still have things, goodbye. Meng Yang refused and walked into the elevator, followed by the bodyguard. Student Meng Yang. The two doctors looked at the closed elevator door and could only look at each other. Although they had long expected to be rejected, they still sighed in disappointment. The perfume jointly launched by Meng Yang and Cels not only caused a high topic and popularity, but the sales volume also broke through a new high in a short period of time. No matter whether it is in Western countries or Eastern countries, there are insufficient supplies and money cannot be bought. Of course, there are sales techniques, such as the hunger sales method, which make people feel that they can't buy it, which is much higher than the sales that can be bought at any time. Meng Yang walked into the classroom, sat down in his seat, and took out something to wait for the class. He naturally felt that other classmates were watching him, and he was still using his mobile phone to discuss him, and he was already used to it. Meng Yang. A female student walked to Meng Yang's seat, her hands behind her, her expression a little embarrassed. Is there something? Meng Yang looked at her and asked. Can you sign me a name on it? The female student put a very beautiful gold-plated card on Meng Yang's desk. Meng Yang recognized this card as a gift in his perfume box, and after quickly signing it, returned the card to the female student. Is this possible? Thank you. The female classmate said excitedly after taking the card. I really like this perfume, but unfortunately I have used many methods and I haven't bought other models. When I buy other models, you also can I sign my name? Good. Meng Yang nodded. Thank you. After thanking the female classmate again, she returned to her seat and discussed with the surrounding classmates excitedly. More than a dozen classmates took cards to get Meng Yang to sign, and Meng Yang also signed them for them. Discussions in the classroom became louder and louder, and they did not go quiet until the class began. Yu Junchen was watching and listening, and his heart was very unpleasant. He thought that Meng Yang had told him before that if he wanted to be his opponent, it would depend on whether he could keep up with his footsteps. Intention, but did not expect that he only took such a short time to pull them so far away. Meng Yang did not expect that he and Celsi would become friends. It is estimated that Luo Xiu did not expect that, after all, their personality in various concepts are very different. In addition to the topic of perfume they often talk about, Cels occasionally shares his life with Meng Yang, and some of the content is very explosive. After reading it, Meng Yang can only shake his head and then feel a little funny. He sometimes even thinks that if he does not meet and fall in love with Luo Xiu, then it is actually not bad to live a life like Circe, indulgence and enjoyment. Meng Yang felt that he must have been infected by Celsi's madness, so he had such an idea, but he must not let Luo Xiu know, otherwise Luo Xiu would definitely not let him contact Celsi in private. Although it sometimes feels that Celsi's indulgence is also good, Meng Yang does not feel envious at all, because Luo Xiu is the only destination for his life. How happy he feels to be loved by Luo Xiu, is anyone else unable to feel, he will die in this happiness. Even if he dies, never leave. The author has something to say. Thank you for the little angel who voted for me or irrigated nutrient solution. Thanks to the little angel who irrigated nutrient solution. Joching in 10 bottles, 7 bottles of Takayagen who want to vomit but have poor words, 5 bottles of W.Y5, 09873 bottles, 1 bottle of Yen and Jingyan. Thank you very much for your support. I will continue to work hard. Chapter 40. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. The rich second. Married man's wife. 40 Meng Yang, brothers and sisters, and other master students, followed Lin Songtai to the aromatherapy branch. This time, apart from visiting and studying, there is also a purpose to get the recommended students. Today, you can join the preparatory member exams, which is another benefit of being a master student. The scenery here is really nice, Meng Yang said to Wu Feng. It is larger than their college. It is an ancient garden with complete pavilions and water pavilions. The scenery is elegant and quiet, but it is a good place to recuperate. The scenery is good, but the people here are not so good. Because there are other master students, Wu Feng lowered his voice and whispered to Meng Yang. Don't say it's a formal member, even a reserve member, all of them have nostrils, and they think they are superior, so they hate them. Before Meng Yang had become a student of Lin Songtai, Wu Feng and Lin Songtai had visited him a few times, allowing him to say this. It shows that he was a little angry when he came before. Meng Yang smiled and said, I heard that even if you want to become a member, the threshold is quite high. The examination process is very strict and you need to get the consent of the 5 masters. This is indeed the case. Wu Feng said unwillingly, and said. Several brothers passed the exam before. I only passed the test last time. As long as the exam is passed, there is a teacher. It is very simple to get the 5 masters to agree, which is why the preparatory members are basically master students. Meng Yang nodded. In fact, he didn't really want to take the exam, but if he wants to get a license from the aromatherapy branch, he must become a member here. The current situation is that many people only recognize the license of the aromatherapy branch. If he does not get it, it will certainly happen to the deputy. And he must at least prove that he has the ability to get it, to be eligible to disdain such a situation. Meng Yang didn't want to be a reserve member, and the reserve member was no different from the miscellaneous, but Lin Songtai told him that if he can get a high evaluation and score this time, he might be able to make him a full member directly. Situation. They walked through the bamboo forest trail and went deeper in the garden. When they passed by a courtyard with a garden, they saw a few people who came over there and then turned. Meng Yang froze for a moment and turned to Wu Feng. Said. I saw Uncle Luo, and I used to talk to him. Then I'll wait for you at the end of the promenade in front of you, otherwise you can't find it, you have to hurry up, and the teacher will pass after they have finished talking. Wu Feng asked. Got it, I'll come right away. Meng Yang finished walking towards Luo Xiu's side. After Meng Yang approached quickly, he shouted to Luo Xiu's back. Uncle Luo. Luo Xiu was also surprised when he heard Meng Yang's voice. He turned to look over and saw Meng Yang walking towards him quickly, and stepped forward. Why are you here? Meng Yang asked, holding his waist and looking up at him. My friends and I will come to see another friend. He has not been in good health recently and is here to recuperate. Luo Xiu saw Meng Yang because he walked too fast. Today the sun is big and his cheeks are flushed. He touched his face and said, You came with your teacher. Well, we came to visit and take an exam today. If you are not in a hurry to leave, come and pick me up later, let's go back together. Meng Yang said. Good. Luo Xiu agreed. Then I will go first, and brother is still waiting for me. Meng Yang kissed him on his face, and then turned and walked away quickly. Seeing Meng Yang as a gust of wind, Luo Xiu came and hurried away. He watched Meng Yang's back disappear into his sight, and then turned to his friends. Luo Xiu's friend teased. Your wife calls you uncle. What is your interest? I called it before I got married, and I haven't changed it. Luo Xiu said with a smile. Although his calling your uncle is not wrong, you can really be his uncle, but you are all married, what does it feel like to hear him call you? Luo Xiu's friend asked with a smile. Want to know what it feels like, if you go back and let your wife call you the same, don't you know? But it certainly doesn't feel good to me, after all, your wife, how can my wife be young and beautiful? Luo Xiu laughed, ah. I found that you got shameless since you got married. Luo Xiu and his friends walked forward while talking and laughing. Meng Yang quickly walked up the promenade and walked along the wall of the house. When he was about to reach the corner, he suddenly stopped and stood on the spot. A few seconds later, from the other side of the corner, a person came and Meng Yang saw him holding something, and continued to stand still, waiting for him to pass first. Seeing that Meng Yang seemed to know the way he was coming, the man was very surprised, because he was wearing cloth shoes, and his steps were very light. There was no sound when walking on such a slate floor. He could not help but look at Meng Yang more. At this point, the man recognized who Meng Yang was, immediately frowned, and when he passed Meng Yang's side, he slammed into Meng Yang's shoulder. Meng Yang didn't anticipate his behavior, nor did he know why he did it, because he didn't know this person at all, and his body reacted sideways to avoid it. Because of Meng Yang's hiding, the man stumbled, and all the boxes he held fell on the ground. He squatted down and picked them up. When he saw that the boxes had not been opened, he stood up and watched Meng Yang scolding. You didn't open your eyes. What a mess. If the things inside are broken, you wouldn't be able to compensate even if you have money. Do you know? Meng Yang was inexplicable. He stood here motionlessly, waiting for him to pass by. He deliberately bumped into himself, and said he bumped into it. Is this person sick? Who are you? Do you know where this place is? You dare to walk around. The man still let Meng Yang go and continued to scold. Who brought you in, or did you run in by yourself? Hurry up, or I will let the security guard throw you out. Meng Yang glanced at him with a neuropathic look, and then left directly. He thought he had encountered a mad dog, too lazy to ignore him, and did not want to delay his time. When the man saw Meng Yang ignoring him, he immediately became angry and shouted. Stop for me. Did you hear me? Meng Yang hurried forward, and after turning another corner, he saw Wu Feng waiting for him in front, and accelerated his pace towards him. The following time, Meng Yang visited the spice warehouse. After coming out of the spice warehouse, Lin Songtai was talking to the warehouse managers. Meng Yang and they were standing outside and waiting, and suddenly came over here a few people. Brother. Yu Junchen walked towards the few people, and Wen Yuan followed. Meng Yang turned around and glanced at the appearance of the people who spoke to Yu Junchen and Wen Yuan. He froze for a moment, then thought to himself, that he was Yu Junchen's brother, that is, Su Wanya's student. He just never met him at school, he should have graduated. Meng Yang understood why the man had trouble for no reason just now. He felt that he was indeed guilty of committing a crime against Su Wanya. Why did all the students of Su Wanya seem to have a feud with him? No, it should be that he rushed with Yu Junchen, so everyone who has a good relationship with Yu Junchen also rushed with him. Perhaps in the dark, they are destined to be incompatible. Meng Yang, leave. Wu Feng called Meng Yang in a daze, and called him. Meng Yang recovered and immediately followed. Lin Songtai took them to the exam hall, waiting for the invigilator to prepare. After the masters and deputy chairman from the aromatherapy club had arrived, the invigilator prepared almost the same, and more than a dozen recommended students took the seats to prepare for the exam. More than a dozen invigilators put the exam questions in front of them in the same way, recording questions while asking questions. Such an exam is very easy for Meng Yang. He not only answers the questions of proctors, but also expresses his own opinions. After they completed the exam, Meng Yang, the invigilator, recorded the process and scores for the vice presidents and masters. After the masters saw that there was no problem, they could register, but they debated whether to make Meng Yang a full member. Such scores and evaluations are fully qualified to become full members, and it is not without precedent. But you can't just look at the scores and assessments. Experience is also very important. It is a very important experience for the preparatory member to let him learn more basic things. It is also good for himself. Speaking of experience, he used aromatherapy to wake up people who have been comatose for more than a year, but it has been spread, which is enough to prove that his foundation and talent are enough. Yes, and he has already obtained a grade A aromatherapist license. Can't he prove that his foundation is solid enough? A license that has not been certified by the fragrance therapy branch is no different from waste paper. It is because people with your thoughts seriously hinder the development of aromatherapy and make fewer and fewer people willing to learn aromatherapy. It's called Ning Ke Wu Bu. Do more and more perfume therapists who get licensed half-barrels of water help the development of aromatherapy? You are simply unreasonable. Okay, good masters. When the vice president saw that they were about to start arguing again, he quickly opened the round field and said, "Now we will only discuss whether to let Meng Yang be a full member directly, and let us temporarily let go and discuss later." As soon as the vice chairman finished his speech, the masters expressed their opinions. Although the people on Lin Songtai's side had tried their best to fight for Meng Yang, there were some masters who were particularly stubborn because they thought Meng Yang was too young in the first grade. It is necessary to work hard and learn more basic things, insisting that Meng Yang should start as a reserve member, and even the vice chairman persuaded is useless. In the end, when the vice president makes a decision, he can only make a compromise. The original reserve member should be at least 3 years. The vice president said that Meng Yang should be a reserve member for 1.5 years. Meng Yang hesitated when he heard such a result. He didn't want to be a reserve member, but if he didn't, he would definitely not be able to enter the aromatherapy branch in a short time. Vice President Yuan. Hearing the sound, everyone looked at the door at the same time. Dong Luo. The vice president froze for a moment, then stood up and looked at Luo Xiu and asked, "How come Dong Luo is free today? Is it to pick up Meng Yang? I'll take a look at Li Yan, and then take Meng Yang back." Luo Xiu looked at the paper in his hand and asked, "Is this Meng Yang's test record? Can you show me?" "Of course." The vice president handed Luo Xiu some papers on his hand. "Meng Yang's level of excellence, even I think it is rare. We will definitely train him such a genius." The vice president praised Meng Yang for Luo Dong. Luo Xiu listened to him complimenting Meng Yang, and his heart was naturally comfortable, but he still looked at the vice president and said, "Whether Meng Yang becomes a reserve member, wait any longer, it is not yet time. This. Dong Luo, you may not know the strict standards for recruiting students in our club." The vice president pointed to other students. "These students are excellent in the whole country, but even they don't accept even if they fail by 1 or 2 points. Although I don't know much about your many regulations, I still know a little bit about preparing for members." Luo Xiu raised his hand and touched Meng Yang's hair and put his arms around his shoulders. "Meng Yang's age is too young. I don't want him to suffer too much. Although these students who are excellent in the whole country are competing and want to be the reserve members here, in my opinion, you are the reserve members here, it's no different from doing miscellaneous things. I have to do hard work. When I am at home, I don't even want to let him take it by myself. That's enough to let him get drunk here." Dong Luo, although being a reserve member is to do some chores, but these are exercises for the reserve member, they can also learn a lot from these things. Moreover, young people, how hard it is, to him later it's good. The vice president continued to persuade. Other young people, it doesn't matter how much hardship they have, but Meng Yang can't do it. As long as there is me, I won't let him suffer a little bit of bitterness, no matter now or in the future. Lao Lin, if there is nothing else, I will take Meng Yang back first. Good. Lin Songtai replied. Luo Xiu glanced at the masters, then led Meng Yang away, and took away Meng Yang's examination records. The vice chairman watched Luo Xiu and Meng Yang leave, and said to Lin Songtai. You also advise me if you are old. My husband's reluctance to bear his hardship, how can you persuade me? Lin Songtai said. You are always Meng Yang's teacher, they still have to listen to your words. I'm his teacher, not his father. Can they listen to what I say? I really want to recruit more talented students for our club. We will always be there to explain. It's a pity that some people's brains are like stones in dung pits. What else can I persuade? Do they persuade their children to suffer and suffer? Lin Songtai glanced at Su Wangya, who has been silent for a long time, get upset and take the students away. The vice president can only helplessly sigh. The author has something to say. Thank you for the little angel who voted for me or irrigated nutrient solution. Thanks to the little angel who irrigated nutrient solution. 2069510 rice, anti-tang tang. 10 bottles, 5 bottles of shiitake mushrooms. I love to learn. 2 bottles, 1 bottle of Pinellia flowers. Thank you very much for your support, I will continue to work hard.